What we do here is go back.
And hopefully we're live. Oh, damn it. No, we're not. You can probably hear me. Let's put that multi-view. There we go. Yeah, I knew I did something wrong. There's always something. I checked everything. At least I thought I checked everything. But no, it wasn't to be. Good evening. Saturday the 29th of March 2025. For those of us in the United Kingdom, it's that dreaded day when the clocks jump forward tonight.
I love that one.
Most people, it's not too much of a problem, but for those of you that work on a Sunday, then I do feel for you because you get an hour less in bed. One of those people being myself. So yes, yeah, not a great thing entirely, but still, at least it's going to be a little bit lighter in the evenings, I think. Whichever way it works. Anyway, British summertime is upon us. And also, for those of you that are in the United Kingdom, don't forget, it is Mother's Day tomorrow. If you haven't bought something, it's not entirely too late. You could always still probably steal something from a graveyard and grab some flowers or something to give to your mum. Or alternatively, Kath's going to probably put a link into the chat. So if you want to go and grab some last minute bargain on Amazon, then yeah. Eh?
You told me to put it in the description.
Oh, sorry. I told her to put it in the description for the video. Right. My mistake. Anyway, hopefully everything is working. You can hear me and see me, etc. Toe says, can't watch this live today, but we'll watch for the TR100 build another time. Cheers. No worries. We probably won't be doing a build on it. Just going to do a bit of a teardown, see what it's all about. I will be doing a separate follow-up video on both of these cases and doing builds on them to see what they're like, etc, etc. Tonight is just to have a look at them, get a feel for them and see what they're all about. And maybe there's some points of interest which are going to be beneficial to you lot watching. Possibly you're thinking about maybe getting one yourself. If you want me to do any measurements, whatever, just let me know in the chat. I'll be very happy to do that. So yeah, all good stuff. Glad to see you're all in the chat. And let's make sure the overhead camera is working also. Yep, that appears to be okay. And I've got a fresh cup of warm beverage, which is some not coffee. Cup's a bit filthy though, been using it all day. Yeah, that seems to be okay. And does the stream desktop work? I bet that doesn't. Let me have a look at that. Stream desktop. Oh, no, that's working as well. Excellent stuff. So yeah, we're all good in hood. Excellent, excellent stuff.
Dutch Jan will look critically.
Dutch Jan will look critically. I would not expect anything else from you at all. Just say a quick hello to those of you in the chat. Sorry again. Obviously, the stream has started about an hour or so earlier, a little bit earlier than usual actually. It's not even 7:15, which is when it's supposed to start. It actually started a little bit early, so trying to get an extra hour in so we can finish an hour early, so I can go to bed an hour early, so I don't have to get up an hour early tomorrow morning, technically. If that makes any sense. Hopefully it does. Willie Bob says, all good, Mark. Thank you. Who else we got in the chat? So we've got Colin Hilton. How you doing, Colin? Good to see you in the chat. Also got a rally. Says I am here, although that was about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Charles Ballard, just checking in. Got to do some gaming and be back for the podcast. A rally, Colin. See you then. And Mike and Kath. See you later, Charles. Nick Barnes says, good job I rechecked stream as hadn't noticed 1 hour earlier. Looks like I will be watching this on PC and MotoGP in ear from phone. No worries. Riley says, yes, it is worse than having the clocks just go forward. It's also Mother's Day. Yes, so if you haven't planned ahead, now is the time to make those last minute shopping decisions. At least that way, if you do it on Amazon, hopefully it'll get delivered tomorrow. If it doesn't, you can just say to your mum, look, I've got your present, but it might not be there tomorrow. You might get it the day after. But I did think of you. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, Colin's in the chat. We've also got Nick Barnes, like I've said. It's probably going to be a weird one, actually. A lot of you are probably thinking we'll come in later or not expecting it to be early. I should have said last week, actually, that it was going to be an hour early. I don't know if I did or not. Anyway, regardless. Also, some slight change I've made here is we are almost entirely using the Brave browser. Those of you that have been telling me for such a long time, Calf's not quite made the jump yet, but the stream is currently running on the Brave browser, and so far it looks good, and I don't think we're having the terrible memory overflow or the oh snap thing. Yet memory usage is down to only about 500 megabytes, whereas normally by now the stream would be up to about a gig, and it gets up to about 4.5, 5 gigs of RAM, and it just falls over. So hopefully that is going to make an improvement. Also, it seems that the pop-up chat thing is working well as well. So there you go. Mark Gaines also with us. So hello, Mike, Kath, and everyone in the chat. How you doing, Mark? Dutch Jan. Good evening, Lee. Yeah, whatever that is. I can't pronounce that. That means good evening, everybody. I know some things. John David Sullivan is in the chat as well. How you doing? Andy Archer. How you doing, Andy? Good to see you. Who else we got? Well, let's fast forward a bit. We've got a super chat from our good pal Jason Woods. Thank you, Jason. Party, party, party. Thank you for your £10 super chat. Much appreciated. And thanks for joining us, even though it is a little bit earlier than normal. Hopefully it doesn't catch out too many of you. Maybe it does. I'm hoping that this video, or this stream rather, is going to be one which is quite popular, because a lot of people seem to be wanting to get into the ITX kind of market. Smaller PCs, a little bit smaller form factor, and maybe because the general ATX format is becoming a little bit on the stale side. There's not really a great deal that you can do to change it or to kind of make things look a little bit different. If you're like me and you're looking around for new and exciting and interesting cases, the ATX market is a little bit lackluster these days. We haven't had any real major kind of shifts in technology, other than maybe a bit on the PSU basement. Leanne Lee obviously doing the 207, 216, 217, where you've got that slight change there with the PSU at the bottom. But otherwise, really, there's not really much changing, which is a little bit sad. But anyway, there you go. Hopefully this will give you some ideas of what you want to do with a possible ITX build. Now, obviously, an ITX build is one which comes with a premium. Premium prices, unfortunately, because anything which has been miniaturized normally costs more. And also, it does come with a few little caveats. Obviously, you haven't got as much room in the case, so there's things that just physically won't fit. Now, hopefully, more so with the TR100, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. They've engineered it in quite a special way. So I'm quite interested to see what kind of stuff we can fit in there. And also the same goes for the Tower 250, which basically isn't really an ITX format case. It's pretty big, but it's vertical, so it's going to take up less room on your desk, but still can hold things like massive radiators, and also, sorry, Kath's choking on her not coffee. Yeah, the Tower range has been excellent actually, because you can use mini ITX, ITX, full-size boards on those Tower type designs, and they look really good, and they're just a little bit different, which is always, I quite like to see something a bit new and different. It's always a bit exciting. Mark Gaines there sent in a £10 super chat. Thank you very much, Mark. It says, oh, posted a pic of my new build on Discord. Awesome stuff. We'll have to take a look at that, and thank you, Mark. I'll have to manually do the disco ball for that one, because Kath's out of the room coughing her.
I'm better now.
She's better now. She's alive. Aletta has joined us as well. How you doing, Aletta?
Did you do the super chat?
I'm doing it now.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Excellent stuff. So yeah, Mark. Oh, actually, can I? Mark, do you mind me showing your build on here? Am I okay to do that, or do you prefer people to go over to the Discord to check it out?
Light on yet or not?
I'm not even sure if I've got Discord on here. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can turn it off now. Thank you. Discord is over there, so let's move that over onto the other screen. That's going to be that away. Let's maximize that. And where are we? PC bills, is it maybe? Where did you post it, Mark? I show off my rig. Let's have a look in there. Streamer mode. Okay, let's get that picture up there. Okay, so I'm going to put it over onto the stream desktop. Did Mark put in there if he minded or not?
He said no, go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. Right, there we go to the stream desktop. So there's Mark Gaines' new build. So that is, I think that's the Corsair 3500X. I'm pretty sure it is. And what we've got there, we've got a Radeon Sapphire. Is that a 9070? Can't quite tell what that is there. I think that's a 9070. Looks pretty swish. Got the wraparound LCD display on the AIO cooler there. Nice looking build. Yeah, that looks pretty clean. That a Gigabyte Aorus motherboard as well by the look of it. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Nice little receiver there in the background. Excellent stuff. So yeah, good stuff. And of course, if any of you want to post your own builds, you want to show them off on our Discord, you can do. You're more than welcome to. I'll put a link in the chat for that now. So you can head over to the Discord and post it into the Show Off My Rig room. And let's have a look. What else is being said there? Let's have a quick scan through. We're all good. Let's minimize that there. So yes, excellent stuff. It's a very clean build. Yeah, I agree. Looks really good. Fred's in the chat as well. Says hi all. How you doing, Fred? Excellent stuff.
There and they want us to show it, put it in the chat.
Yeah, if you post your picture into the Discord and you want us to show it actually on the stream, then let us know in the chat and we'll try and do what we can.
On this chat.
And Charles says, "Oh, very clean. Oh, motherboard with backside connectors. Sweet." Yes, I am a little bit of a fan of the BTF design or Project Zero or
Mr. Who didn't like it in the
whatever. Yeah, it's a problematic thing in the case, or in the fact that a lot of cases are starting to support it, but trying to get motherboards is becoming challenging at best. Unfortunately, MSI and ASUS, when they first started doing both Project Zero and also the BTF design, there was only maybe, I think, less than 10 in total boards between the two manufacturers. And there's, as of yet, I don't think, other than I think the newer Gigabyte ones, and possibly on the B580, that actually were AMD AM5 full-size boards. There was a couple of MicroATX boards, but I don't, on Project Zero, but yeah, trying to get hold of a BTF board. There does appear to be a new ASUS B850 Tough Gaming Wi-Fi BTF, which I'm tempted to swap out in my daily driver, because I've got that BTF graphics card and it would be really nice to kind of pair it up, go from the Z790 Tough BTF to the socket AM5. But anyway, who knows? Dutch Jan says, "I'm not going to do that, Mike. I have to clean it first." No worries. And if you do post it, we will not be critical. We might be a little bit. It's not going to be one of those things where we deliberately hit on people for whatever they do, because everyone's different and everyone has different abilities and different budgets. So you can have, sometimes you can have an ultra clean build, or sometimes it might be a right scraggy thing which has been thrown together. But ultimately, it's your PC and you probably love it.
Like mine.
Mm.
Hairs and all.
Like calves, yeah. Fred says, "Not okay, I have lost my mum." Oh, sorry to hear that. Right, where are we? Right, I suppose we should basically get on with it. John says, "I will post mine when I've upgraded my graphics card to include my Nitro Plus 9070 XT. Haven't got around to fitting it yet." We were actually quite lucky this week in the UK. There was a couple of websites actually posting MSRP 9070 and 9070 XTs from Currys of all places, which is from people outside of the UK, or maybe those that are slightly younger in the UK. Currys is an electronics warehouse type sales thing. There used to be a separate company which was part of the Currys group called PC World, which actually was a pretty excellent store. Normally big box stores, I wouldn't say it's anything like kind of Target or the Micro Centers, not quite as large as that, but in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was kind of one of the only high street places you could go to where they had a reasonable selection of hardware and parts and accessories, printers, etc, etc. After a while, when Currys bought PC World, or amalgamated more, they used to have like smaller PC World shops inside of Currys, and gradually it kind of whittled down, and basically PC World kind of, I don't think really exists anymore as such. Maybe it does in some stores still, but yeah, it's not what it used to be, which is a real shame. So yes, it's I kind of trying to think what I was going to say there, where I was going with that. No, it's gone. Where was I going with that, Kath? Help me out.
That they knew my mum by name when she kept taking the Acorn computer back
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, Currys were selling online and also in store apparently MSRP 9070 and 9070 XTs. So they were selling 9070 XTs for £569, which seems absolutely incredible. They didn't last long, as you can probably expect. So yeah, that was promising. Things were looking in the right direction, I think. And I think as soon as we start getting some MSRP cards from AMD on the shelves, I think it's going to change the entire PC industry. I know that's going a little bit far, but I think it will do. I think Nvidia's certainly going to have to think about what they do price-wise, because the 5060 and 5060 Ti is due out kind of any time now. We're looking probably about 2 weeks' time before they launch, and they're going to have to seriously consider what they're doing price-wise, because it's not going to be competitive, I fear. And there's two models. There's going to be a 5060 Ti 8GB and a 5060 Ti 16GB, which is weird being that the 5070 is a 12GB, but that is because of the different bus. So the 5060 is going to be a 128-bit bus, whereas the 5070 is a 192-bit bus. So obviously in the 5070, you could either have 12 gigs or 24 gigs. But with the smaller bus, 128-bit bus, you can have either 8 gigs or 16 gigs. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, yeah, it's looking reasonable. We're looking reasonable. John says there the Gigabyte one is in stock at Currys on their website, £679, which is a lot of money, isn't it? A lot of paying an extra £100 for a graphics card, which you know realistically should be a much lower price, is really hurting. I know we've kind of been there. I think I'm more skeptical of this because of during kind of COVID and the mining crazes, paying silly money for graphics cards, and it's like once bitten, twice shy. It's not something that I want to do on a semi-regular basis. But I understand that some people do need to buy graphics cards, and the prices, even though they are somewhat sculpted, aren't hideous. They're just not great. So if anyone does buy one, I completely understand. Alessa says the PC industry needs a good kick in the pants. How do they expect to sell anything that's only 5% faster at twice the price? Yes, I have been saying that myself for what seems like years now, where we're getting these very, very, very minimal improvements generationally and expected to pay lots and lots of more money. Look at motherboards. Going from a decent B450 to a decent B550 was almost double the price at the time when it came out. And then the B650s come out and that was the same again. But was AM5 that much quicker than AM4? Probably not. But yeah, we're paying extras for the things like DDR5, which we don't really want. We're paying more for things like Wi-Fi 7, which we don't necessarily want. And we're paying more for increased bandwidth, which probably, again, we likely don't even want. But that is the way the PC industry moves. I kind of do wish that we were back in the 80s when the PC industry was really, really kicking into gear, and especially the kind of the very early 90s, where everything was just getting very exciting. There was massive competition, the IBM clone PCs, all of the different brands and manufacturers all kind of wanting a slice of the pie. There was a massive market share to tap into, which hadn't been saturated at all. Whereas now pretty much the entire market is saturated. I would suggest almost every home in the UK that has a family living in it will have at least one computer. They may be having more. Tablets, phones, they're basically computers these days. Whereas back in the kind of the early 90s, having a PC at home was somewhat of a rarity, and it was very much up until probably the later 90s, like maybe 99, 2000. That was when the PC boom really here in the UK really did kick off, and even those people that had kind of stayed on consoles or just didn't want a computer in house because of the invention of the internet and all that kind of excitement around it and all the hype and people needing emails for doing certain tasks, or just the curiosity of using the internet for the first time was very attractive and brought people to the table. And most of those people have probably stayed with the computer for the last 20 odd years. Some people don't like that, but some people have made great careers out of it. And also lifelines, but they've made a living out of it. So it's kind of like a cool thing as well. Scott's in the chat now. How you doing? Zero defects as well. So picked up a RRP 5070 Ti. Very nice. Good deals there. Dave says we are now competing with AI. I put a 5700G in my system just to back up my RX 580 because of what has been happening with GPUs. Yeah, that's true. The 5700G is pretty good. Chris Hartford says I traded my way up to a 3080 Ti. I would be upgrading for... I won't be upgrading for a couple of years at least. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Most of the graphics cards that have been on sale for the last probably 4 years, maybe slightly longer, for most people they're more than enough. And you don't really need to upgrade. There's no real benefit as such, other than the fact that you can run your games at higher resolution or potentially higher FPS. But if your game runs and you're happy with it, then is it worth chucking a sizable amount of cash, like basically 500 quid into a graphics card to get a decent improvement? Probably not. Right, Mark says, Mike, the GPU is a 7700 XT Pure Frostpunk Edition. It looked a lot more modern than that. Well, they're saying that the 7700 is not that old, is it? Only a couple of years old anyway. But yeah, it does look good. Hey, Stephen, or Stefan, however you want to be known as. Ashley says I had an Amiga and ran a BBS off my 486 DX66. Ah, the good old days. Nick Barnes says, whoops, we now have 4, including sons and daughters, had a PC since Win95. I was actually a slightly later adopter of Windows 95. I think, when did we get married?
96.
96, and we got it just shortly after, didn't we?
March, I suppose, wasn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, so we got our PC in roughly about March, maybe April of 96.
Or maybe February.
Yeah, early 96 anyway. So Windows 95 had just come out. The internet was being born, and yeah, it was a pretty good time. Fond memories, definitely. And kind of, I'm not sure whether it was more exciting then or whether it was just more of a challenge to kind of source parts and get them all put together and just build this kind of monstrosity with
a ribbon printer.
you had your sound card, you had your Ethernet, well, you probably didn't have an Ethernet card back then, but you had your modem, sound card, maybe IO cards, VGA cards. It was just like, you had a motherboard and everything else was on a card. There was very little integrated IO on motherboards back then. It's yeah, trying to get all the cards to fit in as well and not interrupt each other in terms of their IRQs and stuff. Yeah, good times. Good times. And yeah, like Kath says, we had a color printer which used a ribbon, and it was like 3 colors on a ribbon. They call it, was it called like a daisy wheel printer or something? And it had like a metal wheel that went round and it'd stamp on it in different places. And it sounded like an old-fashioned typewriter, like just smashing bits of colour onto a bit of paper.
I don't think it did.
I'm trying to remember now. Or was it a dot matrix? It might have been a dot matrix. I can't remember. It's so far back.
Confused with my typewriter, I think.
I might be. I might be. Dot matrix, says Dave. Yeah, I think it might have been a dot matrix. Rick says I sold a PlayStation to buy a modem for my PC in '97. I remember very vividly there used to be in the UK a place called Software Warehouse, which was like a high street shop, and you'd go in, they would have some PC components, but mostly software, as you can guess, Software Warehouse, because back then the internet wasn't really a thing. So if you wanted to buy some software, you had to physically go to a store, buy a box with a disc or a CD in it. This is
magazine as well with nonsense on.
This was way before DVDs, so yeah, storage mediums back then were kind of like floppy disks, CDs if you were lucky, possibly iOmega drives like zip disks. What else did you have? Didn't have really USB sticks back then. I'm trying to think, what else do you have? Sometimes even on 5 1/4 inch floppy or 3 1/2 inch floppies. It was a very, very weird time. I think we're very spoilt these days where, like years ago, if you wanted to install a program or run a game, you would sit there for ages waiting for it to load, or at least for an elongated period. Whereas now, if we have to wait more than a millisecond for the M.2 drive to fire up gigabytes of data onto the screen, we start to get a little bit twitchy. And if your game stutters, God forbid. But if you remember back in the DOS days, game stuttering was basically a feature.
And it'd crash, and then you'd have to reload it.
Oh God,
from
yeah.
the beginning and start from the beginning every time.
Oh, I started to get bad memories now. Dutch Jan says Windows 3.11 full install, 23 floppies. I think Windows 95 wasn't far off that. I actually, when we got our computer, I basically killed it very early. I think it was running possibly 3.1, maybe 95. But I basically killed it because I didn't really know what I was doing, probably messing around with DOS. And we ended up buying a set of floppy disks for Windows 95 so I could reinstall the computer.
No, we paid someone to mend it the first time.
We did, yeah.
And then
I fast forward,
that,
yeah. After paying someone to fix it, it's like, well, I'm not doing that again. So from now, I'm going to learn how this all works. And that was my kind of entry into it, I guess. And installing Windows 95 on floppy disks. I think it might have been nearly 30 disks. I vaguely remember having one of those dual-sided floppy disk containers and having just like rows of disks on that side, rows of disks on that side. And that was like just for Windows 95. And then there was like a little short segment at the front for the drivers for the VGA card and the sound card. Madness. Absolutely madness. It would.
You could go to the video store and rent games.
You could, yeah. Dutch Jan says I have Windows 95 on a CD-ROM. I've still got Windows. I've got Windows 95, probably through to Windows XP, all on CDs in my old engineer's briefcase where I used to use them. It was, yeah.
Error, cannot read disk 29.
Oh God, yeah. Rasher says, what's the first sign of madness? Installing Windows 95 on floppies? Might be that. Aletta says, I remember when personal computers and video games didn't exist. We had to play outside. Yeah. It sucks. Walking up your driveway. Very good.
I have to read the first bit to
Kath,
get it.
Kath just got that.
I didn't quite get it.
I think I heard the penny drop. That was good. Right, okay. I think we got... I think everyone's in the chat now, at least pretty much. God, I could put it on for like 40 minutes talking absolute nonsense. Let's have a look at a mini ITX case. This is great actually because my shoulder's still not great, so I don't have a massive PC case to lift up. And there is the box, which says a lot about how big this is. So this is the Thermaltake mini case, the TR100. Now I've been looking to take a look at this now since CES, or was it CES 2024 maybe? I can't remember. Maybe 2025, but it's been a minute for sure. So the TR100 is finally available in the UK in its various guises, various different colors, shapes and configurations. So this one we're going to look at today is the Hydrangea Blue. There is also a black version, there's also a white version, and I believe the other one available at present is in the Matcha green. There are other colours going to be available. Bumblebee yellow, the pink, whatever it is, and there'll be obviously others as well. But at the moment, there's 4 main ones available. And go on, Kath.
Fred, it's a bit off topic, but still computers.
Fred says, is it normal for video cards to get warm and then not? Oh, yeah. In fact, in that PC there, I'd imagine the graphics card is actually running cooler than the CPU. Actually, I can probably tell. Oh no, I haven't got it set up to do that. But yeah, quite often my graphics card will be about 27 degrees and the CPU will be about 30, 33. So yeah, and obviously they do ramp up as well. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, pricing. Well, the links are for this in the video description anyway. If you head over to Scan at the moment, this I believe is £99. Which you think 100 quid for a case, that's a little bit on the pricey side. But having said that, it does come with a PCI Express Gen 4 riser cable. Now, anyone who's looked into building mini PCs or even vertically mounting a GPU will know that PCI Express Gen 4 riser cards or cables are extremely expensive. And if you try to get a good one, you're looking £40, £50. So if you kind of take that into consideration, that the riser cable in here retails for somewhere in the region of about £40, that means this case is around about 60 quid. Which, again, for a mini ITX PC box, is actually pretty good. Surprisingly so. So, price-wise, I have my doubts. I would like to see a version of this available on the market without the PCI Express riser card. Especially because we are almost at the point where AMD are about to release the AMD Strix Point Halo, which is the AM5, basically Ninja GPU. So that processor is basically going to mean that you don't need a graphics card, like properly now. I know they've been saying it for years and years, and every generation it's like, oh, these onboard graphics are getting better and better. But when it comes to the Strix Halo Point, that is going to be somewhat of a game changer. From what I can tell, and from what I've seen from initial benchmarks, it's somewhere around the GTX 1060 range, which is actually, if you think about it, for onboard graphics, that's pretty good. And in some instances, it can get to around about GTX 1070 levels. And obviously, as software improves, with the cooling improving and all the other stuff included, RAM speeds, etc., potentially it might even be better than that. So, with that in mind, this case wouldn't need a graphics card, or this PC setup wouldn't need a graphics card. So it would be nice to see a version of this without the PCI Express riser cable, or at least having it as an option. That is my initial thoughts on it anyway. So, oh, actually, if I turn that round, you can see, as I said there. So yeah, TR100, that's the black version. You've also got the TR100 Snow, TR100 Matcha Green, and TR100 Hydrangea Blue, which obviously that's highlighted there. So this is the Hydrangea Blue. For those who are wondering about the dimensions, I will read those out for you now. So you're looking at 294 millimeters by 179 millimeters by 391 millimeters. So that's height by width by depth. That equates to 11.5 inches by 7 inches by 15.5 inches. So it's pretty small. The side panel is made from steel. The material is SPCC. It's got 2 drive bays for 2.5 inch drives, or 1 2.5 inch drive, depending on your configuration. 3 expansion slots for graphics cards. We'll take 6.7 by 6.7 inch mini ITX motherboards. It's got USB 3.2 Gen 2 and also USB 3.0 Type A ×2. So that's going to be 5 gigabit per second. HD audio. Takes an SFX or SFXL power supply and fan support. Well, we can go through that anyway, but yeah. CPU cooler height, maximum CPU cooler height, 68 millimeters. So kind of limiting you slightly to AIO or stock coolers, or one of those kind of low profile Noctuas or Thermalrights. VGA length up to 360mm, which is massive. VGA width limitation up to 70mm. and PSU length installation is 130 mil. There you go. Hopefully that is enough information. Let's take a look at this thing, because I'm a little bit torn, because I kind of want to do a build in one of these. Yeah, I am Natalie Imbruglia. Nice to have the money. And the first singing voice, to be fair. And the eyes, I suppose, yeah. Might as well just have the whole lot, innit? Yeah, I'm a bit torn with this, because I quite like to do an ITX build. But I'm not sure. I am somewhat hesitant. Because there are, like I said, there's going to be, hang on, electric shock time. That wasn't bad. So yeah, there's always going to be some sort of drawbacks or limitations with an ITX build. That is inevitable due to the size constraints. But I think they've actually done a good job on this, and I'm not too sure why it took Thermaltake such a long time to get this out to market. I know in the US they've had it for a good few months now, but for us here in the UK, Scan, I believe, are the kind of preferred supplier for Thermaltake. They work very closely together on certain deals and offers and stocks, etc. And they've only very recently got a lot of these in. And in fact, I think the Hydrangea Blue possibly is still pre-order. So yeah, it's a strange situation. Anyway, let's have a quick look around the case and see what you all think. Now, hopefully you can see it okay. Just looking through the chat there while you check out this very strangely coloured PC. I'm not too sure how I feel about Hydrangea Blue. I understand why Thermaltake did it, because it was almost an excuse for them to get into this kind of different market of different and somewhat exciting new colour options. I also have my doubts as well, because yes, it's Hydrangea Blue, but it's also very white as well. So it's not like it's all one uniform colour. Now I understand that, because that isn't always an easy thing to do. But for some of the other models they do in the range, like there's one which is like a sandstone, like desert sand or something, which is kind of like a red colour for the frame, but brown for everything else. So clearly they can change the colours if they wanted to. But yeah, it's just a slightly unusual thing. I personally would like to see it all one uniform colour. Having said that, having the white accents is making life a lot easier. So if you want to buy a CPU cooler, you don't necessarily have to go for one of Thermaltake's Hydrangea Blue CPU coolers. You can go for basically a white CPU cooler if you wanted to, which are relatively commonplace and quite easy to get. So if you don't want to have a specific Thermaltake one, you could get maybe one of those kind of bargain Thermalright ones for like 40-50 quid and save yourself a ton of money. But then you're spending a lot of money on a case, so maybe you don't want to save much money. You want to make it all look really good. But yeah, anyway, there are various options. Is my cup in the way it is?
Andy? Is it raining?
It's a bit wet.
Oh dear. Alexa says, weird colour, maybe a build for a baby boy.
Or baby Candy.
And there is a cat comparison for size. Candy is one of the smaller cats, so
She's still tiny.
not that that helps. She could probably fit inside there, to be fair. So let's take a look at the front. Now, I'm seeing this pretty much the first time as well as you lot, because I had this out of the box earlier, just so I want to clarify one thing, and that was the PCI Express riser cable. Because if it didn't come with that, I would be really upset at the price on this.
Pink interior watermelon.
Yeah, there is one of those. Yeah, there is. Yeah, watermelon one, or at least it's due. It's like a mint colour, so it's mint and pink. Right, top section here. So this is a plastic top section here. This is actually removable, and there is an optional LCD readout display which can fit in here, and they're kind of color coded and what have you. So there's a 3.9-inch LCD screen which can go in here, which again is one of those things which Thermaltake I think have royally fumbled on and have messed up horrendously, because the LCD screen which goes in here, the one from Thermaltake, is 100 quid. £99 I believe it is at the moment. Again, links are in the video description I believe. If you check out there you can see it from Scan. So yeah, 90 quid for an LCD display, which I think is absolute daylight robbery. I've said that numerous times. It's a horrendous price. Absolutely horrendous. I don't understand where or how their marketing company or team or whatever can come up with a price like that for an LCD screen. I would love to see the bill of materials pricing on it, because the markup on it must be absolutely ridiculous. The LCD screen, which runs off of Thermaltake's TR100 software, it's running micro USB as well, so it's not even like it's USB-C. I think realistically it's probably cost to build maybe, I don't know, 15 quid at best, maybe 20. So to retail it, it may be £39.99. Yes, it's still expensive, but 100 quid case, LCD panel for extra 40 quid, not unheard of. But 100 quid for the LCD panel, I think, is literally taking the piss out of customers. I genuinely do. And I just hope and pray that at some point, some clever person on AliExpress makes a basic rip-off of it. Because that's what AliExpress generally tends to do. I think that would be a better solution. Having said that, the Thermaltake TTRGB implementation of the software, as you can see running on my pump head there, the software itself is actually pretty decent. So much like Synology NAS, the Synology NAS isn't really worth the money it is, but you're paying the money for the software and the reliability. That is kind of, it's the research and development and the ongoing development of the software to run the thing, which you're kind of investing in, which, whether you would like to or not, is entirely up to you. Right, okay. So moving down from that, this front section, you've got your power button. There's a reset button, which is actually quite hard to press, so that's quite good. Combination headset jack, which I would have preferred to have seen separate ones, I think. A dedicated headphone or mic. I don't think it's too bad a thing, especially on this sort of PC. On a desktop PC, you probably want both, but I can see why that works on here. Also, then you've got your two USB Type A's, and also you've got USB Type C there at the bottom. Also, you've got this kind of nice mesh, so to let a bit of airflow in. Although, in this position here, you're going to have the power supply over one side a bit, so you're not going to get much airflow through there, but it's nice that they've thought about it and given you some options for airflow. Where do we look next? Let's have a look on the sides. So we'll start off on this side. So it is basically a relatively toolless design. So just on the side panels there, you can either grab it from the side, and it's got like ridiculously strong magnets on there. So really just kind of snap shut. So you can get it off. The side panels, as you can see, as with pretty much most Thermaltake equipment these days, comes with that really nice fine mesh for air filtration. Of course, if you just want the ultimate in cooling, you can leave those out altogether and just wing it. And these are all magnets on there, hold that in place, and also color coded as well, which I guess is kind of nice. And this is oh, bollocks. This is quite a solid piece of metal, so it's actually not a lot of flex in it at all. So that's pretty nice. And these are actually universal as well, so they do fit on both sides. So I'll take the back one off as well. You can see I'm taking that one off, and if I want to now, I can put the back one on there and it fits. So if you maybe damaged one and you don't want it to be shown, you could flip them over or whatever. So that's kind of nice. God, the magnets are very strong. So even if your cable management skills suck, it's not going to be too much of a problem. We'll take this box out of the way. Actually, let's take a look, see what's in the box, because I haven't seen much of inside the box yet. So let's put the overhead camera on, and we will zoom in a little bit, hopefully. Zooming. Good thing that spray paint exists. Hydraulic blue. Yeah. So in the accessories box, there's a twist stick. There is a GPU bracket. So that can go inside to hold your graphics card in place for transportation purposes. Then you've got your accessories bag. So they do include the bracket pre-made and kind of set up ready. So if you do want to put the LCD display in, you put your LCD into there, and yeah, you can swap out that front panel. You've got a bunch of transparent cable ties and all your screws and mounting hardware, and also a BIOS bleep speaker. We like to see those. So it's a pretty reasonable accessories bag there. And having the plastic surround there already incorporated, I think really should mean that the LCD screen should be even cheaper. But anyway. TR100 installation and user manual. And underneath this additional piece of cardboard, we do have this. So this is the PCI Express Gen 4 PCI riser cable. And let's rip that out of there and take a look. This actually looks like a pretty high quality one, to be fair. You can get ones of these which are very cheap and the ribbons are awful, but this seems to be like a silicone rubber coating on them. So a little bit of strength and also isolation for the signals. So basically what you do is there's a little cover on there. You plug that into the graphics card slot on your motherboard. And it is actually a Thermaltake branded product. It has got the TT logo on there. And then you bend that round to the other side where your graphics card lives, and your graphics card fits into this slot. And it looks like there is some, yeah, there's a little retention clip there, so you can lock your GPU into place once it's been installed. So yeah, that's pretty good stuff. I will show you, actually, I've got some really, really cheap and horrible PCI Express riser cables, and they are absolutely awful. But they were very, very cheap.
That case looks like it smells of talcum powder.
It doesn't smell of anything currently, although by the time it's finished here, it'll probably smell of cats. So whoever gets this next for review will be, yeah, somewhat unlucky. That's life.
Do you need another drink?
Let's go. No, I'm right, thanks. I'm going to have to be peeing myself in a minute. I've been drinking loads of tea and coffee today. Not tea and coffee. Not tea and not coffee. Right, let's go through and take a look. Actually, tell you what, while we're in this area, we'll go to the overhead camera. We can have a look at the top section. Zoom out of there a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll do. So this is the top panel. Again, more of that typical very open type design. Not hexagon mesh, but not dots. So pretty porous there. It's pretty good and also pretty strong as well. There is a thumb screw on the end, which is actually a spring-loaded thumb screw, which I haven't seen a spring-loaded thumb screw on a case for a very long time. So yeah, when it's undone, it kind of pops out all the way, and then you can slide it back slightly and remove that from the top panel. And again, like pretty much all of the Thermaltake stuff, there is a removable filter, which I'm not entirely sure how you get to. Oh, there we go. So you take the filter out, again, it's that nice mesh. And if you don't want to have it blocking your exhaust flow, you can just put it back in like that. And as you can see, you've got very, very good airflow going through there, because it is essentially completely open. Now, does this have to go in a certain way? I guess it does. I think it's that way, he says. Well, it's the other way around. Magnets. Ah, there we go. So yeah, that locks into place, so nice and easy. You can take it out and give it a clean should you need to. And actually, while we're taking a look at the top, so in terms of radiator mount on the top, in here you can put up to a 280mm AIO or two 140mm fans, or you can put a 240, 120 is, you know, general sort of deal. But essentially, you cannot put a 360mm rad in here, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And obviously looking down through, you can see there is a definite kind of line between two sections of the case. So this side, this is going to be for the motherboard. So your motherboard is going to fit in this side. This section here is where your power supply is going to live, just in that holder there. And then on this side, at the front there, that is going to be where your GPU is going to live. So your motherboard is going to go in here. The PCI Express riser cable is going to go over the top, or possibly under, depending how you want to do it, I guess. And actually, that's a good point. Where would the graphics card be? No, yeah, your PCI Express slot is going to be at the top, because the IO's at the back there. So your PCI Express slot is going to be at the top, so that's going to go over there, back down in, and your graphics card is going to sit on the other side. And also they've color coded all the wiring as well, so it's all nice white wiring in here, which is again, quite a nice thing to see. So the power supply goes kind of up under there, connect that through. There you've got all your other cables there. A little bit of ketchup and mustard on the HD audio, but not really the end of the world.
Firephone says, what colour is this case?
This case is Hydrangea blue.
What about Bumblebee for colour?
Yep, there's a yellow one due out as well, I believe. There's going to be a pink candy floss, and there's also the Bumblebee yellow. They're not out yet, but they will be available at some point in the reasonably near future, I believe.
Does the price paid affect the performance if supposed to be Gen 4 cables?
That is a good point. I'm not too sure. I don't think there's actually a graphics card on the market at the moment which will suffer being a Gen 5 card on a Gen 4 cable. The only thing you might need to do is actually in the BIOS is make sure that the PCI Express lane is set to ×4. But no, it shouldn't affect the performance on any current video card in the market. There's a few websites, a few YouTube channels I've watched already where they've tested PCI Express Gen 5 versus Gen 4 enabled motherboards or cables, and the difference is basically negligible. You can hardly tell. So anyway, that's pretty nice, and I'll give you a look on. So this is the motherboard side, and actually if I grab a motherboard a minute, we'll stick a motherboard in there just so you can see what it looks like. After all, I did spend a few hours last night taking a motherboard out of another case in order to show this today. So I might as well do it. Otherwise, all my time and effort would have been wasted. It wouldn't be the first time.
This week.
This week, yeah. So if we move these wires out of the way a minute, and there is our little ITX motherboard, and that just fits in like that. So yeah, you've got all your connections down the side there. Your motherboard's going to be in like that. PCI Express slot is at the top there, and then your riser cable is going to plug into that and then just fold over into the back side of the chassis. Again, not leaving a great deal of height here, so I think an AIO is pretty much the way to go. And if I do SFX power supply or SFXL, which is like the longer ones. So
They're not doing the 250 tower in Bumblebee yellow.
this is about 67 mil. What's that? Sorry.
They're not doing 250 tower in Bumblebee yellow.
Who said that?
Dave Freeman, because he wanted it.
Yeah, the Tower 300 won't be, I don't think.
No, you got the 300.
Oh, sorry, you've got the 300. I think the 250 is going to be done. It just might be a matter of time. I'll check with Adam at Thermaltake. He might be able to tell us the answer on that, but I think it is due. The plan is to cover the entire colour range, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, so there you go. That's what the motherboard looks like inside it, so you get a general idea of how the kind of layout would be. And in fact, actually, if I put a power supply in there as well, I might as well do that. Give you an idea of what that would also look like. Let's grab one off the shelf. I am fortunate enough to have a Thermaltake power supply here, so I'm sure they will be very happy with me showing this. This is the one I generally tend to use for testing purposes. So your power supply is going to slot in like that, and there you go. So that is actually got the same mesh effect on it as the side of the case. So see that nice and matching there. Fantastic power supply. Very good for airflow as well. Which obviously, when you get a power supply this small and one which is actually platinum rated, then yeah, the components inside that are absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, your power lead is going to be tucked in under here and connected in, twisted around like that. So yeah, you'll be able to cable manage most of that stuff out of the way. So this is kind of like going to be a messy side anyway. The other side is going to be the one where you're going to see the graphics card in all of its glory. So I think that is pretty much it. Does anybody want me to do any measurements or anything particular here whilst I'm in this situation? So yeah, obviously with your AIO there, you're going to still have a decent amount of room for your fans, etc. Let's actually get the tape measure again, or the rule. So between the top of there and the top of the motherboard, you're looking at about 65 millimeters. So in terms of an AIO, so 25 mil for fans, plus about another 30 for the AIO, so 55. So you're going to be looking around about there. So you're still going to have a little bit of clearance over the top there to get your PCI Express cable over, or if you're not using one, then obviously that isn't going to be a problem. So yeah, nice layout. I think that works in a lot of ways. There is also some adjustment on the PSU side as well. So you can actually, if you wanted to, you could run the cable, like ditch this cable altogether and take out this adapter or this plate, and then you can put your power supply kind of the next level down. So it's like right up against the bottom. So that'll give you a little bit more height. So if you've got a slightly bigger power supply or a slightly smaller one or whatever, then there's a little bit of an option to move that about. So that's pretty cool.
You realise when you speak into Adam, you can ask about the 250, yeah?
250 in yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a note, because I'll forget. I wonder if Adam's in the stream actually. I haven't seen him. Probably not. If there's MotoGP racing on, he probably won't be. But I will ask that question. He will only know for Europe and for the UK markets, I think. So outside of the UK and EU, it might not be quite such an easy thing to find out. Because Thermaltake head office and the US branch and the UK and German branch, etc., they're all slightly different companies. So, and also what one region does isn't necessarily available in another region. Like here in the UK, I don't think we at the moment get the Thermaltake PCs, like the pre-built PCs, but they are available in America, North America. Hmm? Ah, right. Thanks, Mark. Right.
Barnes likes the idea of a removable GPU panel, so easier to fit GPU.
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea, isn't it? I quite like that myself. Just looking for a graphics card. Let's find the graphics card.
What would the thermals be like on this game?
I think the thermals are going to be actually pretty good. Sorry, I'm just out of shot a minute, just grabbing some graphics cards because we'll take a look at the other side next and see what fits and what don't. So I've got some big cards and I've got some slightly smaller cards. The slightly smaller cards I think is going to be absolutely fine. But the big one, I'm a little concerned. Right, so that is that on. Let's put the side panel back on. But if I put it around the right way. So you've got these little ledges on the bottom, which go into there, and then it falls into place. Actually, let's take a look at the bottom. So on the bottom, again, you've got more mounting sections. You've got the feet, another spring-loaded captive screw. So the bottom can be removed as well to gain access. So if there's things you need to do at the bottom of your PC case, or maybe gain access to parts of the back of the motherboard, or for your GPU, whatever it might be, you can take the bottom off and gain access there, which is again pretty cool. No filters on this though, which is I was going to say originally it was a bit of a shame, but kind of makes sense because dust rarely goes underneath your PC then back up into it, especially if there's no fans directly mounted there. So this is mainly going to be an exhaust on the bottom anyway. Looking at the back, so you've got your PCI Express mounting tabs there, 3 slot cards it'll take up to, and also this is removable as well. So if you want to, you can unscrew that screw that screw, that screw, that screw, and that screw. You just might see those there. And that whole section is removable, which means you can actually attach your graphics card to that first of all, possibly, and then put it into the case, which is pretty neat. Right, what else have we got? So, I'm not sure if the front panel actually comes off easily or manually. I think there's some screws there. I'm not sure if you can see it. There is actually another fan, well, another filter there. So from the front section, not that you're going to put any fans in there, but that is going to be an air intake of sorts. Oh, and there's also the GPU bracket, which is in the way. Let's move that out of the way. So yeah, it's all magnetic. There's a floating GPU bracket there. So to protect your GPU from sagging that way. And also the bit that was in the box earlier clips into this to kind of lock it all into position. So if you're shipping it or something, then you can do that. I'm going to leave that out because that's annoying me already. What else do we need to look at? So I think that's it. Let's see what we can do in terms of graphics cards in this. So I'm going to grab a traditional dual slot card to begin with, and we'll see how that looks in there in terms of space. So this is going to be a Radeon 7800 XT, which is a pretty decent graphics card. I would consider somewhere significantly in the kind of the mid to enthusiast tier. And we'll take a look at that. So that's going to be kind of in there. So yeah, in terms of fitment for a card like that, it actually looks pretty minimal in there. Quite small indeed. And that graphics card is, I think it's somewhere in the region of about 10 inches long. Yeah, just over 10 inches, 10.5 inches. So potentially we've got a lot more room there for a GPU. So let's take that one out of the equation. And we'll try something a little bit bigger. Arnold G says this case is aimed at the ex-console, now PC users, I believe. Yeah, definitely. And certainly people like maybe students living in dorms and what have you. They don't have a great deal of room for a full-size tower PC, but they still want to run something pretty powerful. For those sorts of people, I think it's going to be quite an attractive proposition. Yeah. Yeah, true dorm gamer. Yes, definitely. Or just for like if you've got quite a smart lounge area and you want to have a PC nearby your living room television, so you can play games on a large screen. And again, if you are migrating from console gaming over to PC gaming, you could quite happily put one of these versions next to your kind of hi-fi stack and it wouldn't look terribly out of place, I don't think. So we go for something a little bit on the larger side now. So this is an RTX 4080. This is a triple slot card. So yeah, considerably bigger. Get it out the box. This has been a GPU which I've actually been a bit scared to use. Oh my god, come on, get out the bag, you swine. Right, okay, so this is, as you can see, this is a proper chunky boy. This is a big old graphics card. Big triple fan setup. Yeah, absolute monster of a cooler. So, does this fit? I think it will very easily. Famous last words, Michael. There we go. And that's not even up to the PCI Express plate. I can go in a little bit further. So yeah, there's still a little bit of a gap there at the end. An absolute beast. And still, as you can see, there's lots of room there at the top. So if you are installing an AIO cooler, which is going to be in here, you're still going to be able to have your AIO and the fans there pulling off the heat from possibly the graphics card exhaust in it as well. So your graphics card is going to be exhausting heat downward out of the vents at the bottom, which is completely open. It's going to be pulling in air from the side because you're going to have your section here. So effectively you're going to be pulling in direct fresh air from the outside world into the GPU, and it's going to be exhausting out of the bottom and being drawn out of the top by your AIO cooler, which may or may not be in the top, or just fans on the top, whichever you choose to do. I think this case probably does suit an AIO. Rasher says, is that the bargain of the century 4080? It is, yes. Yes, this is the 4080, which cost me 260 something pounds, like under 270 quid. This thing's an absolute beast. I am terrified to use it, because if I get too used to it, if anything ever happens to it, I don't know what I would do. But yeah, it's an absolute beast. I have used it very briefly, just to make sure that it actually works. And it does. So I'm going to put that away, stop dust getting on it. It's a funny thing actually when you get a bargain, because a bargain such as that, it's great, don't get me wrong, but it's only a bargain if you keep it. If you think to yourself, oh, I could make some money on that, it's like, well, if you want to make money on it, you're only going to have to buy another one anyway. So, oh, come on, get it back in the box. It doesn't want to go back in the box. What have I done now? I'll leave that to one side, I don't want to wreck it. Anyway, so you can see it fits. It fell off a truck. It actually came from a reputable seller. It was a misprice. It should have been a 4060, but they missold it. So yeah, I was pretty stoked with that.
Matthew
Thanks to Toge.
asked, have you put the clocks forward already?
Yes, sort of, yeah. So anyway, there is the case in all of its somewhat glory. Let's put you on the main camera again, so you're probably getting sick of the overhead view. So what do you think? I honestly, I have my doubts, but I really do kind of like this form factor. I don't know whether for me it would work for, I don't know where it would work. I really do like it, and I really do want to do a building one and actually have it on display somewhere. But it wouldn't really replace my streaming PC, because I need certain aspects of my streaming PC to be able to like swap out graphics cards and test M.2 drives and CPU coolers and all that kind of stuff. So that the flexibility of having such a big PC there is really good. It could replace my video editing PC.
Reality, it's okay. Not that colour though. But that's
Wow.
a compliment.
Viali says it's okay.
What is the
That's
max
no
cooler
agree.
height?
Maximum cooler height on here, I think, was 67 mil. Let me just double check that a minute on the side of the box. CPU cooler height, 68 millimeters. Sorry, I was a millimeter out. And that makes all the difference. So yeah, 68 mil isn't a lot. So you would be, I think you would be limited to quite a small cooler, like the Thermaltake, was it AXP 65, I think? I got one here actually, let me have a look. Poppy, calm down, you lunatic. Where's the height on this thing? 32. Yeah. So something like this, the Thermaltake AXP 90 X47. That's 47 mil in height. So that's going to give you 10 mil clearance. You could probably get a slightly thicker fan. This has got a slimline fan, so you put a thicker fan at 25 mil rather than a 15 mil. That's the extra 10 mil pretty much taken up there. So yeah, you could probably go with one of those. It's right, Poppy, I'm coming past. Don't be afraid.
There's the X.
Any other questions?
57.
Oh, yeah, there's an X57 as well. Yeah, that might be an option. Our Portier says I also like the colour. John Davis says the colour is a bit iffy, but the case looks nice. Okay.
Will it fit a full slice of bread in it?
Yeah, yeah. You could get an actual loaf in here, I think. Actually, no, you probably couldn't because the divider in the middle.
That's 4 slices, or
You could do a good 4 slices. I actually want to put the LCD panel in. The thing is with the LCD panel, where is it? I've got it here somewhere. Knocking around. I can't remember where I put it actually. It's probably down here. No, it's inside of one of those Thermaltake boxes, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's going to be an absolute pain in the ass. So yeah, the LCD panel on the front. I think again, it depends where you're putting this PC and kind of what the intention is. So if you've got it on your desktop and it's kind of like to the left or to the right of you, I suppose most people traditionally would have the PC on their left. So yeah, you'd have your GPU. No, you'd have your, yeah, you probably want it on the right hand side of you. So have the PC on the right hand side of you. You have your GPU on this side looking all nice and pretty. And yeah, monitor there, keyboard, mouse. You have your LCD display on there. I think it'd be pretty good on a smaller desk with the right setup. Of course, Hydrangea blue, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I get that, but they do it in a plain black. They do it in a snow white. They also do it in the Matcha green. I'm going to show you Matcha green in a minute. I don't like Matcha green. I'll be honest with you. I don't like green on a PC. I don't think green needs to be anywhere near electrical goods. Like on a classic car, yeah. Green doesn't need to be on computer and equipment. It really doesn't. I didn't like the racing green. I thought that looked way too much like a kind of like a cheap Action Man toy. It was that kind of, I don't know, just reminds me of those cheap Action Man like tanks and stuff you used to get as a kid. Just, yeah, I don't know why, it's reminded me of that for some reason. But the Hydrangea blue, I don't mind. I think it's quite a fun colour. And if you've got the right environment, the right setup, maybe a white monitor with it, white keyboard and mouse, I think it would actually look pretty sick. Just with that kind of little highlighted colour in there. But again, ultimately it's down to the individual. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And there's nothing on this earth that I'm going to be able to say which is going to change that for you. So I wouldn't even attempt it. Because...
H has got that colour case, hasn't he?
Who has?
Rick H likes that one. That colour.
This Hydrangea blue?
I think his case
Yeah, yeah.
is
Yeah, Rick H has got the Hydrangea blue. I think he's got the Tower...
Is it even a Tower?
I think he got one of the Tower ones, yeah. Or was it? I can't remember now. No, he didn't. He got the Series 330 or 350, I think. Bring back beige, says Matthew Day. Yeah, I get you. Nick Byron says, I thought that TT Tower in dark green was fab. Lying, lol. Yeah, I didn't... I think I gave that away in the end. I did a giveaway on it. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan on that. Dave Froman says, I like the racing green one they do. My wife has the Tower 100 in the dark green and it hides in the living room fantastically. Yeah, I guess in that position, yeah, that would work out. Yeah, because it would kind of just disappear into the background. Or if you're on a battlefield or in the woods. Nick Barnes says, prefer a light grey case next time, but like this case. Okay. Twist my shoulder. Andy, Adam Williams, I got one of the LCD screens for my daughter's Tower 200, but at least it was open box and $80. Yeah, it's just mad price, isn't it? Honestly, is. The LCD screens, I look at it and it really just blows my mind how they've made it so expensive for what it is. Like, I get it. I understand where they're coming from with it. They're a business. They want to make money, and obviously there are costs associated with it, the software, etc., etc., etc. But it just seems like, I would imagine, it's one of those things that people see the adverts. Now, tell me if I'm right or wrong with this. if you're looking for a case, you go onto like the Thermaltake website, you look at some of the cases, and you see it all decked out with the LCD displays and all that, and you think, yeah, I kind of like that. It looks pretty sick. But then you look at the price of the LCD screens, and you're like, And then maybe you move on to another brand altogether because you're put off by the extortionate price of the LCD screens. Now, I know Thermaltake won't like me saying that, but I think it's the truth. And I think if you guys agree and we're all a bit more vocal about it, they might listen to us and say, okay, we hear you. We'll try and do it cheaper.
You can get an 8-inch display for stats for the same price.
Exactly. Yeah, you can go onto places like AliExpress, like I've said before. You go onto there and you can find stuff which obviously is not going to be the same. You're not going to have the integration with the software for the RGB for the Thermaltake software, which for some people is going to be one of those things which they find important, which I understand, because actually I quite like the ecosystem myself. How does that go on there? Oh yeah, it slides on. That's actually quite neat. So that GPU kind of support thing, so there's some rails on the bottom which it just slides along on. Yeah. I honestly, this case is growing on me.
Why don't they make custom editions like PS4 and PS5 does a custom Spider-Man PC, red, blue and black?
I think they kind of let people just do it themselves. Like Thermaltake themselves as a company are weirdly massively into modding. And they have their case mod championships, they have their RAM mod championships. So they have got quite a kind of a growing modding scene. But yeah, they don't seem to want to go the whole kind of what company is Ducky do like the Fallout themed peripherals, mice, keyboard, desk mats, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I guess the Noble chairs, is it Noble? They do like the Star Wars and also the Fallout and Pepsi Cola kind of chairs. So I think there's definitely a market for it, but maybe there's just not quite enough of a market to make it worthwhile. Which is, again, going back to the LCD screen. The LCD screens are becoming very popular and very desirable things. So if they could do them at such a price, like, look at their competitor, Thermalrite, which, ironically, people that worked from Thermaltake went to make Thermalrite. It's just like a... Yeah, anyway. Thermalrite have done basically, they don't care about profits so much, they just want to make loads of stuff and have market saturation. And definitely I think they've done that. It's a shame that Thermaltake don't take a little bit of a slice of that pie and try and say, well actually, we're a big company, we could possibly reduce our prices maybe to gain a larger market share. But they kind of seem to want to go more the kind of Corsair, Lianli, heights. They want to go that kind of direction. So like trying to aim for the premium market with the premium prices, which I get because it's all very well made stuff. The Thermaltake stuff isn't cheap, flimsy crap at all. But having said that, a lot of Thermaltake stuff, especially their coolers, aren't necessarily that flimsy either. They're quite well made. So I think there is the possibility that it could happen. But yeah, the LCD screens, if they can bring it down to like £40, 100% I'd be in. Because there's £40 which I could almost justify.
Is it also available with tempered glass?
As far as I'm aware, there isn't, and I don't think there ever will be, a tempered glass option on this. There is actually, bizarrely, a travel case available, or will be available. It's not here in the UK yet. But Thermaltake have actually designed a carry case that will fit this PC, a set of VR goggles, a keyboard, mouse, and your cables, all in a kind of airport-style travel-on bag. Is that what we call it? Travel-on or walk-on bag or whatever. You know, the ones with the handle that extends up and you walk along and it's behind you. It's just a small carry travel bag thing. Yeah, it's a travel thing. Carry on luggage. That's what I'm thinking it's supposed to be. I don't know. I don't travel much. I don't know the Mark Gaines. Oh, the amp you see in the picture is the Onkyo TXNR 686 PC 2022 says, hello MK Ultra, how you doing? Is
that like a spell correction?
I'm not mind control. Wish I was. Please use the affiliate links.
We might get emails if we were.
Oh yeah, YouTube have managed to mess up our channel a little bit. So at the moment we get, if you put a new comment on a video, we get them. We get a notification. But if you reply to a comment, we don't get it. And apparently that is now by design, which I think is absolute nonsense. So we will be having words with YouTube about that.
So if you need a reply, a comment.
Yeah. So if you need to, if you leave a comment on a video and then I reply, you need to reply with a new comment. Otherwise, I won't see it. Probably ever.
Unless you put a link or swear in it, and it might get held in review.
Yeah. If you say,
it's really hard to find.
Yeah.
You agree it.
If you want to be seen, just use a profanity and it'll get put in the to be sorted box. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, I recommend that.
Right, it's a bit of tape on there. So we're done with that one. So now we can have a look at the other tower case. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm going to take this one out, get the other one, and I'm going to go for a very quick bathroom break. So I'm going to put you onto the intro. Or, actually, what else have I got here?
Oh, if you hadn't scared Dave, we would have been alright.
Yeah. I'll put you on the stand. Yeah, that'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? Just leave, Kath just said leave the stream on that all night and just see how many views we get. Just leave it going.
Still waiting in the morning.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think my kidney tubules are opening up a bit there. Anyway, moving on. Right, what is going on there? Let's have a look. Nearly Christmas, yeah. Was that Christmas music I put in that one?
Fireworks.
Oh, that's right, yeah. That's what happens when you buy cheap power supplies, you get the fireworks. Mike, get a tape gun. Oh, God. If I had a tape gun, I'd have to have like 2 or 3 of them. It just takes up too much room.
That probably brings back bad memories of being taped to the stationery cupboard door. And
Nick Barnes says, didn't YouTube do that last year as well? Yes, they did. Well, apparently this is actually, I'm going to find
that was probably a test run, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're just being dicks, aren't they? It's,
they always do it all first and then see how it goes down. And then
I should have it on my email. Where are we? YouTube partner support. There we go. Right. I'll read this out as they've written it to me. See if you think this is nonsense or not. So basically, what I've gone through is I'm getting notifications from YouTube to say that someone has commented on a video. You're also supposed to have an option so that you can turn it on so that if you get a reply to a video, you also get a notification, and you can toggle which you want. So if you don't want to be bombarded with like new comments all the time, you can turn that off. And conversely, if you don't want to be notified of replies, you can turn that off as well. So normally we have replies turned on, so then we can go through our email and look at the emails, look at ones we haven't seen. Otherwise, for all new comments, I go to the YouTube studio every morning and throughout the day, and every new comment I go through and I answer from top to bottom. Everyone's questions.
On Studio.
Nowhere in YouTube Studio is there an option to search for replies to comments. So if you reply to a comment on a video, so you leave a comment, I return a reply, you try to reply to me, I will never see that reply, which is ridiculous.
Or know about it.
Or even know about it, yeah. So their response was, thanks to reaching out to the YouTube support team. This is, I'm not going to say his name, having issues with you not getting email notifications for replies can be really concerning. Any creator who might experience this will certainly feel the same. The success of your YouTube channel is as important to me as it is to you. Let me shed some light regarding your concern. As promised, I have raised your concern to our internal team, and they have given me some information about your concern. Upon further investigation, we're trying to minimize the total amount of notifications in a short period of time. If you keep receiving several notifications around the same time period, we may not show another notification in order to limit the total of notifications that are sending. We're hoping for your understanding and cooperation regarding this matter. Do let us know if you have other concerns aside from this. We'll be glad to help. All the best. So, without being crude, they've basically said fuck off, which actually pisses me off, because one of the key things which I think tries to differentiate our channel from others is the fact that we reply to every comment, or at least as many as we possibly can find. But if YouTube are now making it so that they are limiting it, like, surely that's my decision.
And if they're limiting it, what are we getting? None.
Yeah, they're not limiting it. We're getting none. Not a single one comes through.
And we've checked on
so like
as well.
If there was like multiple and they just sent a email saying you have multiple replies to this video, click here to access them, fantastic, don't mind that at all. But I don't know if anyone's replying to any video. I've actually asked people on the Discord to do it and I don't get it. Unless I actually physically go to each individual video, look on each individual comment and see if there's a reply, I will never find them. So for me, this is yeah, it's nonsense. So I'm really pissed off with this, because we like to have that kind of engagement and communication with viewers. And this happened about a year or so ago.
Maybe not even.
And we complained about it and they said, oh yeah, that's no problem, we'll look into that. And they basically fixed it. So yeah, I'm pissed off with this, so I will get back to them and say, well no, that's not an appropriate answer to the question. They already had me going around in hoops, because they said they said you have to do some basic troubleshooting first, like I hadn't already. So they wanted me to remove my account, delete all of my cache, all my profile, all my settings, etc. in my browser.
Tell them your bank card number. Yeah,
it's like, no, I am not going to do that. I said what I will do is I will install a new, I'll install a fresh new browser, and I will transfer my account details into it, and I will see if it changes the settings. And I did that, and it made no difference at all. So again, I spent another however long trying to fix it. But it just seems that, I don't know whether this person is actually an AI, because they don't make any darn sense.
Can I just interrupt? James Miscellaneous
Anyway.
wants, as a viewer request, can you please squeeze Dave's butt for the camera?
There you go, Dave. You alright, mate? Oh, you having a sleep? He's cute. Bless him.
Nuki finds it hard to believe that YouTube can't make that a toggle setting for the content creator.
It is. It is a toggle setting. If I go into YouTube Studio, and you can see it clear as day. You can toggle all this stuff on and off. So if you don't want notifications for something, you can turn it off. Or if you do want notifications, you can turn it on. I actually went through and I've turned on every single notification possible, and I still don't get them.
We're getting
Even ones from
now.
YouTube themselves.
We are getting the first comment.
Yeah, if we get one comment, we get it. But
any replies, we don't.
Replies, or if someone answers or mentions me in a video, no idea. It's ridiculous. It really pisses me off. And we got no control over it. The only thing I think I might be able to do is if I change the YouTube account from a normal account to a business account. So then other people can be other people can be designated as kind of moderators, in which case they might be able to change the settings. I don't know. I don't really want to go through that hassle. But please just look through my history when we had this conversation previously, when it went wrong before, and just have a look at that and see what was done then. Surely they must have a log or some sort of thing, like a customer history of what was done.
No, it sounds like a bot though, so they wouldn't know how to do that.
It sounds massively like a bot. So yeah. Unfortunately, roughly about 5 years ago, YouTube said, now that you've got to a certain size, we will allocate you a YouTube liaison.
I think that was at 10,000, wasn't it?
At 10,000, yeah, and we still haven't had that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh dear. Anyway, moving on.
But we're on Rumble now.
So yeah, for those of you that we're on Rumble, so potentially,
And Odyssey.
depending how it goes, we might actually come off of YouTube and just go onto Rumble, because it might be just less hassle. But it's extremely frustrating. But yeah, we'll see. But if you want to follow us on Rumble, where you can basically watch it ad free, it's choice is yours. Lord Lucifer says YouTube using AI for emails and replies now, lol. Well, the thing is, yeah, it wouldn't be like. The thing is, how do you actually? I was going to say in the chat, like, are you a human being? Is that a rude thing to say when you're talking to someone in a support role? Would it be out of order to say, "Are you an AI?" or "Are you a human being?" Anyway, there you go. Susan Robbins says, "Don't get me started on YouTube." I know. It's bizarre. Literally, there is a toggle setting for all of the settings. Actually, I'm going to quickly go into my my account here and see if they've changed anything. Oh,
The AI lied, Mike.
I think the AI was hallucinating that they actually knew what the fuck they were talking about. Sorry, that's rude, isn't it? Sorry. Every now and then you just have to get it out your system. It does anger me. Yeah, go on, have some pop-ups, I don't care. Where are settings? Notifications. Yeah, so I've got get notifications in this browser, turned on. Notify me, yeah, subscriptions. Notify me about activity from the channels I'm subscribed to. I never get those, ever. Notify me of videos I might, based on what I might like to watch. Don't get that.
What they would like you to watch,
Yeah.
I think it is.
Activity on my channel, so notify me about comments and other activity on my channel or videos. Turned on. Activity on my comments. Notify me about replies, likes, and other activity on my comments and activity on my posts on other channels. That is also turned on. Mentions is turned on. Others reusing my content is turned on. Promotional content and offerings is turned on. So, actually, did we get an email come in and say that we're live? Because that would be a telltale sign.
No, we did last week.
Because sometimes you get an email saying, now live on your channel. It's like, well, don't you think we kind of know that?
No, hold on, I'm at the bottom.
It's ridiculous. Have you tried?
Now live on your channel. We were
All
always
right.
getting there.
Yeah, so we got that. Have you tried turning them off and back on again? I'm actually going to do, I'm going to get,
We did do that.
let's
though.
turn off desktop notifications.
And also turn off the original questions, because that's pointless.
Yeah, let's get rid of,
We know the email works.
get rid of subscriptions, get rid of recommended videos. I'll just have mentions, reusing, promotional, get rid of all that. So I just want activity on my channel.
And no, we're not live on Rumble at the moment.
No. Here are email notifications. Here we are. Your family. Send me. No, don't want that. Send me emails about my YouTube activity and updates I requested. Don't get that. General product updates. No, don't want that. Premium updates. Don't want that. Creator updates and announcements. Yeah, so email notifications actually don't seem to have any of those real options there. So notifications, so general. Yeah, manage your... Yeah, so it's not actually there. Yeah. It wasn't far off that. Send me emails about my YouTube activity and updates I requested. So, yeah, actually, email notifications isn't there anyway.
Have they taken that off now then?
Well, it says desktop notifications, so maybe it's only in desktop. But I've blocked the pop-up because I'm in Do Not Disturb mode. So how would I even get it? I have no idea.
The notifications up here.
Let's have a look. Notifications. Have I gone out?
Is that a...
For you. No, it's just new videos. Actually, yeah, there is some there, but I'm not going into that every time. That's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I've got no idea.
Game was Nexus. Infuriatingly, YouTube.
Yeah, I just saw that, yeah. So yeah, there's just absolute notifications. Let me see, there's a settings on there. Oh, that just takes me back to the same page. Get notifications in this browser. Right, but it's not Chrome. Anyway. Yeah, so it looks like they've basically either... Actually, unsubscribed. YouTube Kids updates, announcements and recommendations. Let's resume that then. I don't know. Anyway, it's a pain in the ass. I don't like it. It sucks. What's that?
Morales put your video within his game.
All right. Excellent. Hello, Sub-Zero. Now, is that blocked pop-ups? I don't really know how Brave works as such. So maybe I'm missing something. Dave? No. Right, anyway, let's go on and take a look at the this other case. Time is moving on. Did I bring it in with me? I don't think I even brought it in with me, did I? I was too busy on emptying my bladder. Oh dear. I should have done this one first because it's a lot heavier. Oh, a lot heavier. And actually, I haven't checked this to see if there's any sticky labels on with my address on. Ah, there is. Ah, there is, to be sure. Let me peel that off a minute. Why do the senders send stuff with such sticky stuff? Oh well, that'll do.
That was George, because I shared a picture of Dave on Discord, and George is like, "That's my picture," and it's like, I know, but it was so nice I stole it.
Right, Thermaltake. This paperwork from Thermaltake actually has the cost price on here for customs. Where are we? Right. Okay, that makes sense. So which one's that? Yeah, there's the cost prices there. That's the little one. That's the big one. Wow. Right then. So Thermaltake the Tower 250 in Matcha Green. Don't you know? I don't know if I like Matcha Green. You can tell what colour Matcha Green is because it's on the box and it's also the majority of it. And
I got to get your fling.
Is that a super chat? Mick Woods. Hey, how you doing? Mick Woods with the $9.99 there. Thank you very much, Squire. See if I get my mouse to get on there. There we go. Giving you a heart there and a like. Just cool. Playing at 1.5 speed. Hi everyone. How you doing?
Mike's a bit high pitched at that speed.
Yeah, I am a bit.
Bless him.
Riley says, I would call that more pistachio green. I honestly, I'm not very versed on herbs and stuff, so I will take your I'll take your advice on that one. So anyway, this is the Tower 250. And actually, before we open it, we should take a quick look at some of the specs. Feel free if you want to. You can obviously pause the screen or whatever, if that floats your boat. So what we got here, so we've got the dimensions there. So 506 by 300 by 281, 3 lots of tempered glass, 120mm exhaust fan pre-installed, 2 of those in the top. You got 1 3.5-inch drive bay or 2 2.5s, 3 expansion slots. Again, mini ITX motherboard support, so 6.7 by 6.7. Same USB ports, and standard SFX or ATX PSU is able to be used. And you got all the fan and radiators to support there. So if you want to see any of that stuff, or clearances, I suppose, check the clearance, Clarence. CPU cooler height limitation of up to 210mm, so big ass coolers. VGA length 360mm max without the power cover, and 245 with the power cover. There's a removable cover where you can sink your GPU into should you wish to. And also PSU length up to 200mm. So yeah, pretty decent stuff. Dave, I'm going to scoot you over a minute. Come here, buddy. Whee, come on, going for a ride. There you go. Good boy. You can watch now. You can be a viewer on the Mike's Unboxing channel. So anyway, there you go. Some various pictures on the box. But you don't want to see what's on the box. You want to see what is inside of the box. At least I do, actually. Although, for those of you that are wondering as well, if you're late in just come in, these or on time maybe, yeah. These ow, oh, Jesus Christ, that hurt. A bit of static on this bad boy. I like that. The Tower L.
Don't swear in front of Dave.
Sorry, Dave. Yeah, these are on loan from Thermaltake. I'm not keeping these. I'm not able to give them away either, unfortunately. So, yeah. It kind of, that is the deal there. These will be going back to Thermaltake and then probably sent on to possibly other reviewers. I honestly don't know. I don't like this colour. Do you? It's awful, isn't it?
Green should be for camouflage and trees.
Yeah, I agree almost 100%. Saying that, actually looking at it in person,
in LED lights,
under LED lights, which are not great, it's got a very much Halo look to it. So yeah, if you're trying to do the Master Chief Collection onto a PC and do a bit of modding, like if you're into Halo, these are Halo colours almost exactly. Why you'd want Halo colours on your PC, I'm not entirely sure. Dave's not sure, are you, Dave? He has no idea.
Bialy thinks it's better than the blue.
It just goes to show that everybody has got something, and also I have been using my Spider colour checker. In fact, let's do a quick white balance just so we're making sure we are on exactly the right colours.
Nearly beige.
Almost beige. So if we go into white balance, and we'll go.
Down. Looks even worse than the TR100.
Wow.
Isn't it? No, you did that.
So I'm going to put that there. That's my grey card. Take a picture, And there we go. Our colours should be 100% accurate now.
Again, as we can see David's reflection.
Hello, Dave. This was supposed to be a piece of plastic, which I was supposed to fold out when I start videos so I get the colour right.
In reality, it looked really nice in AMD red.
Yeah, that might be an option. You never know.
Out of focus.
It was briefly, yeah, because I was doing the colour check-in. Right, let's begin then, shall we? So I suppose we might as well start with taking all the panels off.
Is it because all the back's out of focus?
No, I think it's just that moment in time. Oh, come on.
Grow your nails. Look at Dave. In the reflection.
Come on. Right. Where's my knife?
Got my nails. Aren't you scratching glass?
I might be. I'll leave the protection on. No one will know. Oh, there's another one at the top there. There we go. Right. So, tempered glass with, I think that might even have... I am going to eventually. I think that... Is that clear or has that got a tint to it? I think it's got a tint to it. Oh god, this is so hard to get off. Yeah, so the glass has a very slight tint to it. You can't really see it there, can you? Let's get down there. Yeah, so there is a slight tint to the glass. But that's the thing with tinted glass, it doesn't need to be a very particularly dark tint. To the more of it you've got, the more tinted it looks. If that makes sense. So side glass pieces, they just pop out as well. There's on pogo pins. So if you wanted to gain access inside of the PC, quick smart on the double, then you can do pretty easily. So on the top, you've got your I/O and your power button, reset, separate headset mic jack, 2 USB-As, 1 USB-C, and your LEDs, etc. This top section is removable, so there's a little grab handle on the top. So let's take a look in the overhead, and hopefully you can just see it. Yep, there's a grab handle just here. So pop that up. You've got your removable filter on the inside. So yeah, hopefully you can see that. So there's the filter. Those lugs go in there, locks into place. Job done. And in the top, they've installed 2 Thermaltake CT120 fans.
Press stud or magnetic was that?
This is just press stud. Oh, for the cooler, for the filter, or for the, that is, yeah, there's no magnets on there. That's held in with plastic retention force. And these are just pushed in on the top. So they just push into place. For the top as well, if you want to gain quicker access, they always do these things up too darn tight. So there's a thumb screw there, you can undo that, and a thumb screw there, so you can undo that also.
David Thompson would like it in cobalt blue.
Once you've undone those, you can then lift that out of the way. So if you want to get access to things like your PCI Express ports, your motherboard rear I/O, or you just want to give it a clean whatever, the choice is yours. Hopefully you can see that okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. That's close enough. So yeah, you can see that. So that is removable. So if you want to put like an AIO in there, you can do that. Put your AIO in, mount it all up. You can put on smaller fans as well if you wanted to. Don't know why you'd want to, but we live in a strange world. So yeah, those just clip into that top section. That screws down, holds it in place. So again, yeah, for getting access, it's not too bad at all. These holes here at the back, those are also for sending wires down through internally, or you can use those for your things like your keyboard and your mouse, to run your cables through that. if we actually take a look at the back and take off the back section, so again it's tool free. You've got the magnetic filter on there, quite a nice open filter actually, even though it's on top of a rather large mesh, but it's still quite open. Air flows through there pretty nicely. And you get your accessories box. Hey Shaky.
He's got a monitor he wants you to look at, but I've written it down.
Alright.
Would there be room for the extra of an AIO?
Yeah, you can put an AIO on the top.
Sorry, it's flamey.
AIOs really work best on the side in this, but you can put it at the top if you wanted to. Let's get rid of that. So in terms of fans in the back, so you can put a 140 on there or 120. This is also removable on a thumb screw, and also you can mount either two 2.5 inch drives on those screws there, or a single 3.5 on the mounts there. So just to show you what that potentially would look like, if I can find one, or find two even. So laptop drive or SSD, two like that. Or if you want to put a hard drive in for a bit of longer term storage, take those out and that goes there. So you've got the choice of either big drives or little drives, whichever suits you.
Is this micro only?
This is only mini ITX. Not even micro, mini only. So yeah, this is an ITX. Well, saying that, I got a feeling that you might be able to get a MicroATX in here, but I don't have one here, but we'll have a look shortly. Rubber grommet pass-throughs for your cable management, etc. You've got your basement section there for the power supply. It's also got the SFX mount in there already, but you can take that out and you can use a full-size one. So that's an option if you want to take up a little bit less room. Also, you've got your accessories box. So you have got the Matcha green LCD panel mounting kit. So you put your LCD panel in there at the front. You've also got some replacement plastic panel pins, and also you've got a load of Velcro wrap as well. You've got another cable cover there for the side. If you're putting your GPU in, you've got your usual stuff there, cable ties, etc. And there's the replacement mount for the power supply. So you can put that in there and then you can use a full-size power supply rather than a SFX model. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, quite nice that you get all this included straight out of the box. I'll leave that out for now. So I think that is pretty much it for in there. In terms of cable management, it's got the same stuff as we've seen before. So you've got these little plastic like latches there. So you just pull those out a little bit and you can route your cables in behind them, as they've done already with some of the IO. And you've got that on both sides, so you can keep all of this really nice and clean and tidy. Or at least normal people would, I probably wouldn't. Oh. And that slots on the bottom. There you go. Let's have a look on the sides now. So again, the sides are the same deal, so they are also quick release or tool-free panels. They've also got all of the filtration built in as well. There we go. You need fingernails for this, which I don't have. So they're held in there pretty well. Let's get a screwdriver. I'll get a knife on there. So yeah, the magnets hold that in really, really well. So they must have magnets inside the metal somewhere. It's really magnetic. So yeah, that goes in like that. Sorry, I got that wrong. They go in by the tabs on the side first of all. So tabs in the side and locks into place. And again, you've got more magnets to hold it all in place. And also the lip on the bottom. So that just pushes into place. It's getting pretty nice and easy access. So your graphics card is going to be here. There's also a bit of foam there to protect your graphics card hitting on the side. And in fact, let's stick a graphics card in a minute so you can see what sort of GPU size you can fit. Luckily I didn't put my GPU away earlier. So in terms of your graphics card, even a bit of a beast like this. I'm going to go in there. Similar sort of room as what we had on the other case earlier, the TR100. It would fit in a similar sort of way, so yeah, that's going to be fine. 4090, 4080s, shouldn't be too much of a problem. This I think is actually bigger than some 4090s. You can see how ridiculously big it is. So yeah, you're going to be fine with that. I actually need to start using that GPU. Again, those plastic bits we saw in the case, and grab those out a minute. So this plastic bit goes on the side here, so you can put that as like a cover to hide away some of the cable nasties if you're using a smaller GPU.
Right, magnetic vinyl is in the filter.
Oh, is it?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's magnetic. That's about all I know. Most of the other bits of this can be taken apart as well. So you've got screws and stuff in there, so you can unscrew that and take those bits out should you want to. And of course the front panel, that comes out as well. But that on this instance, oh, actually it does pop out. So yeah, it pops out. There's filters on there. I think there's filters on these little ones as well, but those don't tend to want to come out. I think you've got to unscrew those. But yeah, even got little magnetic filters on the bottom of those. That one, again, you can swap out with the LCD panel kit to go in there. And there is a big filter on the bottom. So for your power supply basement section. And also pretty nice, easy access to it as well on the front there. I actually do like the design of these cases. I didn't like them to begin with, but I'm actually getting to the point where I really do. Obviously, again, in terms of the motherboard, so it looks like it would take a MicroATX. They've got the extra pillars there, and there's also the extra width on the side. So yeah, a MicroATX probably would go in here. Where's the I/O going to be? No, I/O is going to be at the top. Yeah, the I/O is going to be up here. So yeah, 1, 2. No, you haven't got the third one there. So there's a hole there you could put a pillar into. So I don't think it actually is supposed to fit MicroATX, but I think you could probably get away with it with a little bit of modification. You'd have to run your wires through the bottom there, rather because this will be all covered up. But I think you probably could get it in there. You might struggle getting the wires up to the side panel though, for your HD audio and stuff. Actually, no, it's going to come down too far. No, it's going to be ITX only, I think, to be sensible about it. And also, it looks like you've only got 2 slots there rather than 3. So you might be a little bit scuppered on your choice of graphics card. Anyway, we can find out when we actually start doing a build in it at some point. So I think that is pretty much everything. Oh, I suppose we could take a look at the bottom as well. We've already seen that. But there is the full size pull out, and again the basement section is pretty humongous. So I kind of like it. Let's go back to the main camera. There you go.
Right, did you fit an MATX motherboard in a Tower 200?
Yes. Yeah, the Tower 200, you can definitely put a MicroATX board in there. I have done that. And because of that, I think... No, I don't think a MicroATX would fit in here. I think it's just a little bit too narrow. I haven't got any MicroATX motherboards on hand to actually see if it would, which is a little bit unfortunate.
In the studio?
Yeah, I haven't got one in the studio either, or on my hands. I might have to see if I can buy a MicroATX motherboard to see if one will fit in here. But then I'll have to find a MicroATX board that I actually like. Because I'm not a fan of MicroATX boards, I'll be honest with you. I either go ITX or full-size ATX, because I think MicroATX just has too many... there's too many downsides to MicroATX. Because it's basically less of everything, but for almost the same money. And most MicroATX cases are pretty awful. So yeah, I don't really go a great deal on MicroATX motherboards. I understand their use But like, I hate putting a MicroATX motherboard in an ATX case. I think it just looks completely lost. And also, the wiring doesn't always look good because you've always got gaps somewhere.
Actually, damn, I knew I should have bought this case. I do like it, not the colour of.
Yeah. It's a nice looking case, actually. I like the layout of it. I think if I was going to do one of these, I don't know where I would put it. I don't know whether I could use it to... Actually, I probably could use it to replace my video editing rig, like I said with the other one. I could put this on top of my video editing desk, and I would be pretty happy. The only thing I probably would get slightly annoyed at, that I do with every case, is the fact that the buttons on the top. Yeah, those are a pain in the backside. I suppose as well, actually, I should show you the mounting on the side. So we haven't looked at this yet. So this is where you can put your AIOs or your fans. So this you can put in 120mm or 140mm fans. I reckon you could probably put a 360 in there. You have a look. I think it will take a 360. What do they say? Radiator support. So right side AIO. Yeah, 360mm, 240 or 120, or a 280 or 140. Yeah, so this section here basically gives you the same kind of flexibility as you would in an ATX case. So 360mm rad with loads of clearance and that. I kind of like it. I actually do. I don't like the colour. I dislike the colour. But it weirdly is growing on me. I don't think it would work. Actually, saying that, I'm looking at the picture on the screen now, and it does kind of work in this background because it stands out a bit. Dave, don't eat cables.
David.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work, but it kind of almost does. I think this actually works better for me than the racing green. And of course, yeah, you can mount your radiator to this first of all, so if you want to get that done, and then just bonk, plop all that back in. Put your screws in. Well, that holds it in place as well quite nicely. I don't really understand why they make this removable. It almost seems a little bit pointless. You're just delaying the inevitable that you're going to have to try and line up your AIO there at some point. I suppose if you're just doing a bit of DIY, bit of maintenance, you can undo those screws, let it flop out a little bit so you can gain access to the fans and let it all hang out, so to speak. These side panels as well, they are reversible. So if you get one damaged or something, you can just put it on the other side. So that's pretty cool, and they are magnetic as well. But yeah, it's an interesting PC case as such. There is actually, I want to see if I can get a big triple slot card in here, because I don't think it will. Which again, if you went for a MicroATX board, sometimes they have the PCI Express slots a little bit lower down, which then you wouldn't be able to. You would be limited to like a single slot card. Mike's on socks in. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, so that does work. Yeah, you can get a triple slot card in. It does cover it up a little bit. Let me see if I can get the side panel back on without causing any skirmish with the GPU. It is basically right up on it. You probably, yeah, it is literally like touching the GPU. So yeah, you might really want to go for a 2.5 slot card on this, I think, because that is almost literally touch. Well, there's like a microscopic gap between it. I would like to see a bit more of a gap. So yeah, maybe a slightly less humongous graphics card. But this is like a ridiculously sized graphics card. This is how big? I'm going to measure the side. So we're looking at, it's about 75 mil, maybe 73. So it's obviously a lot bigger than most conventional GPUs. but it'll probably work in there okay. But I would be a little bit concerned about it being a bit close to that. You want to have a little bit of gap just to allow it to do its thing. But again, I suppose this is designed so that it's a slightly smaller chassis. Maybe not so much with that in mind. I think on one of the Tower range, they actually highlighted the fact that it fits a 4090. And that was like one of the selling features. But on this, I don't know whether it would, all of them. Nick says, can the GPU be rotated so it faces outwards? No. There's not really anything you could do. It's kind of like it goes in that way or not at all sort of thing. It's a shame actually didn't make it just a little bit wider. Only need to be a few millimeters wider and it would be absolutely fine. If you took the filter out, there would be enough gap, which might actually be beneficial to some people because then you get obviously more direct fresh air come in. But yeah, overall it's a nice case. It's more designed for like a premium build because obviously 360mm radiator, loads of room for cooling. Yeah, it's a bit of a bizarre one. It's one of those things. It's one of its key things is going to be clearly the look. The look of the case is like, if you like the look of the case, then you'll make, like I said actually at the very beginning of the stream, with ITX, there's generally always going to be that thing of like, where are you going to make your compromise? You're going to have to make your compromise somewhere. Which one of those compromises is going to be that kind of hill that you die on? Some people are going to be like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to give up because I want to have this specific thing. In which case, you have to look elsewhere. I think for the majority of people, yeah, I like that. That kind of quick release thing is pretty neat. So yeah, I think it's all right.
Can the GPU be rotated?
No,
So
I did, yes.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah. So have a look, see what some of you are saying.
It looks like a 1970s game appliance.
Yeah, our Portier says, a beautiful case, but the colour is indeed ugly. Ordinary Dude says, I have to disagree with you lot about MicroATX mic. Unless you use some specific add-in cards, then you don't need the extra size and expense of a larger case and board. They are typically less expensive. I would disagree again slightly, due to the fact that it depends on the manufacturer of the board. Now, if you go with an ASRock motherboard, they tend to have the PCI Express slot at the highest possible place. So the rear IO's there, and then the kind of PCI Express slot is literally there next to it. But a lot of other boards on the market tend to do it the next slot down. So they have like the M.2 there, and then they have the GPU underneath that. So that way means if you have anything bigger than a 2-slot card, your GPU, if it's in a MicroATX case, is going to be just hoovering up basically the bottom of your case, which absolutely kills performance. So if you want a performance-orientated MicroATX rig, it's actually really quite a difficult thing to do. If you just want a normal everyday run-of-the-mill machine just to get jobs done, then it's fine. But if you do want to go for a larger GPU, like a 2.5 slot or bigger, you really have to consider what case you're getting to make sure that it's not like one which has got a blocked off PSU basement. And for that reason is why, for me, there's a little bit too many compromises to be made and too many things. Like, if I wanted to do a dedicated MicroATX PC build, I probably wouldn't be able to use a MSI motherboard. Probably not a Gigabyte board either. ASRock would be okay. Asus, actually no, some of the newer Asus ones have got the slot down a bit as well, which is a really weird thing. I'm not sure why they do it. But yeah, it depends what it is you're doing. And also, when I'm building a PC, I'm at the back of my mind, even if it's like my own, I'm always thinking of resale value. And I'm thinking of like what people are going to potentially want to do, or what may potentially put people off. So that is why I kind of make my judgment. It's not based on my own personal preferences. It's based on trying to resell a PC possibly after I've done whatever I want to do with it. Or maybe I've just reviewed it and passed it on. But it's good to have your opinions. Thank you very much. Dutch Jan says it's too big for an ITX case. It is, but that, I think, is also part of its attraction. Because some people like the idea of an ITX build using a tiny motherboard and not taking up a huge amount of room. But then they also want the case to have the flexibility to install larger components or more stuff or modify it a little bit if they want to. Like having a 360mm rad in this with a little ITX board in there would be absolutely mint. Mint green. Or is it palm olive green? I might have to go and get some palm olive soap out. I don't think it's quite as bad as that, is it? It's more...
Where would you get it?
This is actually more Pacers. Remember Pacers? The old chewy sweet?
No, that's spearmint flavoured.
Yeah, that's spearmint colour.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
more sage green. Like
Sage-
a pale sage green.
You got sage there? Give me some sage. Hit me up with the sage. It ain't far off, actually. Sage.
Bit browner.
It's got a little bit more... Yeah, but that's because probably the stuff's died back a bit. But that is... It's sage green, almost.
Not spearmint colour.
And we've got the camera colour corrected at the moment, so the colours don't lie. Here you go. Thanks.
Now then.
No then, definitely. Ordinary Dude says, I get the GPU placement, and ASRock does it well. Yeah, it does. Use a lot of those boards in years. It does, yeah. If you're going for a MicroATX, you've really got to use an ASRock board. They are the best for it.
I don't know, the sage is coming back out.
Yeah, David Underhill says, Mike, you reviewed a MicroATX MSI board, the B550 Pro VDH Wi-Fi. Yes, and that is why I know what I know. I quite like that board, and at the time it was a good option, but it's not done well in terms of, like, that wasn't designed for a performance PC rig. It was designed for a mainstream. Well, it's a part of the Pro range. The Pro range is all basically office PCs. Ordinary Dude says, MSI and ASRock do the best MicroATX boards. Some gigabytes are good too. Ashley Strachan says, oh no, I've just seen these fully built. They're pretty damn nice looking, especially for a small desk space. Yeah. Markovsky, not the kind of cases you hide in the front, so a desktop front facing case really. I don't think I read that correctly then.
Where is it?
Markovsky, not the kind of case you hide the front of, maybe.
Maybe it's because you said about having it in the background.
Oh right, yeah.
But you'd be able to. It's only because that wide.
Yeah, I got you.
But you could have that facing front ways, couldn't you?
Nick Barnes says, nah, not spacers, more palm olive, defo. Yeah. Oh no, the sage is coming back out. Doesn't look like palm olive in the US. Ours is a Shield. No, Shield's too green in it. Shield's a lot greener. Shield soap in it. Is it Shield? What we used to buy the packs of? Yeah.
Years ago. Is Matcha tea that colour? I don't know.
I think the Matcha tea, like the actual thing, the herb or whatever, the nut or whatever. What is matcha anyway? It's a herb, isn't it? Yeah, I think the matcha herb is that sort of colour.
But I think it would have the same effect as green tea, and it always makes me sick. So I don't.
Dave Venner says that MSI Pro VDH is my second machine I use for ham radio stuff. Yeah, for that, it's a proper workhorse motherboard. It's not really a gamer's board. Greg says, did you see Microsoft is removing the bypass NRO workaround in the preview build of Windows 11? Yeah. This is a funny thing. This is where the comments, this is actually what led me to find out some of my comments from working. We've done loads of videos on how to bypass Windows 11's Microsoft account stuff. And there's one video which is basically perfect. And it means that it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, you don't need to know anything special, you don't need to remember any keystrokes, you don't need to do anything with Rufus or anything at all. Literally just install Windows 11 however you want to, and you still don't have to put in your Microsoft account just by choosing the domain option. And like, it's perfect. I use it almost every single time because it's just so easy. But yeah, I've linked to the video in the original videos with the control F10 and all that kind of stuff, or bypass NRO, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's frustrating that someone yesterday commented on that video saying this doesn't work anymore. And it's like literally in the video, the first line of the description, I think, or the second, it says, please do not use this video, use this instead. And then also in the comment section, the first pinned comment is, do not use this video, use this one instead. It's like people still commenting, this doesn't work. It's like, I know it doesn't work, that's why you pinned the comments twice.
But if we take it down, then
Yeah.
our video probably won't even show up the new one.
Yeah, because the video gets, like, the video was really highly ranking, so we get a lot of traffic to it. So rather than take the video down and lose the views, I wanted it so it's still there, and but people could redirect to the right video. It's like, oh,
We don't really want the views, do we?
drives me mad. Shaky says, next week we paint a case. Greg M says, watch, Microsoft probably has that on their kill list. Well, that is the beauty of it, because they cannot kill off the domain access bit, because there are
Never say never.
there are arguably more people that use Windows 11 Professional in a domain environment than home desktop users. I would say probably 50-50 split. Maybe even more for businesses. Because you think, you go to like pretty much any business environment where they're running computers, they will have a Windows computer generally connected to a Windows server. Like even small businesses, like small business server, but you go to like any big company, almost 100%, all their PCs will be, you log onto the server, you type in username and password, it's connected to a server, some way, shape or form. So they can't really get rid of the domain access because they'll be pissing off almost every IT department up and down the country, throughout the world, everywhere. Because how else are domain administrators going to get PCs connected to the domain? And they don't want a Microsoft account because they want to use their domain accounts. That's the whole point of having a domain. So I don't think they can get rid of that one. They might make it harder to access that, but the thing is they can't make it so that you have to prove you're on a domain, because there will be people that will install it on older hardware or newer hardware, which the drivers won't be supported to actually access the network to validate the domain. So it's really good to use that. And I don't think Microsoft can really get rid of it. Other than if you use the Home Edition, I don't think you can use that to connect to a domain. So you have to use Windows 11 Pro. And I know there's still a lot of people that use the Home Edition. So that will be Microsoft's kind of saving grace. That the majority of computers sold by OEMs and retail stores will generally sell with XP Home. If you're buying a business PC from like Dell or wherever, you'll have the option of having Home or Pro on it. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of it. David Under says office installs in large companies number in thousands. Yeah, definitely. Kenny D, hi, I'm late to the stream. Never mind, no worries. Right, does anybody else have any questions about the Tower 250, or want to see anything, or let me know. I'm here at your beck and call to probe at it however you see fit.
Can you spray paint it?
Can you spray paint it? I can't, because it's not mine, but you could. If you wanted this case, yeah, you could do. I'm not too sure actually which versions are available of this currently. I did mean to have a look at that, so I will quickly have a look. I think there are, at present, I think there are more colour options for this than there are the other, but I could be wrong. So where is my, there it is, my surfing device. That's what I need to do. Amazon, no, actually let's have a look on Thermaltake. So Thermaltake, I do like the
We want to watch you do a build in it with a custom loop.
wow, I would love to, but it's not mine, so I can't. And I don't have a custom loop. The tower. I have been looking. I'm really interested actually in. There's a new Fantex have got a new kit out which comes with fittings which you can use both with soft tubing and hard tubing, and I'm really interested in getting that because it's a really nice kit, and it's Phanteks, so it's a decent brand. I think it's got a D5 pump in it, but it gives you the option, because if you do custom water cooling, I'm not sure whether I'll be boring you lots of tears with this or whether you're interested, but if you do a custom loop, you have to choose at the beginning what sort of fittings and tubes you're going to use. So for most people who are beginning, who've never done it before, you're probably going to want to go with soft tubes because it's a lot easier to do, but then you have to use soft tube fittings. Now the fittings are really expensive. They're like 5-10 quid each sometimes. So it's not an inexpensive thing to do. You can probably get cheaper ones, but they're somewhere in around that price for decent branded ones. So you maybe get 6 to 8 fittings maybe. So like it's a sizable amount of cash, like 40 to 100 quid or something, maybe a little bit less. But it's a decent chunk of cash, and obviously you kind of, if you buy them and then don't use them, it's wasted money. You can't really sell them after. So yeah, you have to make your decision whether you're going to use soft tubing or hard tubing. So if you do your soft tubing, you like it, and it's like, oh yeah, I actually like this custom water cooling, I like it, it's pretty cool. If you then want to change it all to hard tubing to make it look super slick, you then have to change all the fittings. So Phanteks have designed a new fitting which is kind of universal to their own pipes or tubes, which you can use soft or hard tubes with the same fittings, which is a brilliant idea. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I quite fancy doing that, because then I could do my first water-cooled build, custom loop, with soft tubing to make it a little bit easier on myself. And then when I feel a little bit more confident about it, I can get some hard tubes and some bending stuff and make up my own tubes, which I would actually like to do because I think it looks pretty sick. But it's still extremely expensive. So I think the Phanteks kit is still like, it's in the hundreds of pounds mark. It's not like you can buy a 360mm AIO for 50 quid, which I like. Even still, 50 quid for a cooler for some people is still like almost the same price as they spend on their CPU. So I understand that there is a massive disparity between one market and another. So it's a nice thing to do. I really want to do it, and I think it's a very interesting thing to try, but it's not in any way, shape or form cost effective. But it's enjoyable. So it's kind of like, it's one of those hobbyist type things. If you're looking for bang for buck, you don't go for custom water cooling because it's way too expensive. Hopefully that makes sense. Dutch Jan says, Mike, MicroATX doesn't fit, it goes to the side and not down. Yeah, it would go over towards the GPU side, wouldn't it? I think. Yeah, because it would go down. Well, it goes both ways, doesn't it? Because ITX is like square, MicroATX goes out that way and then down that way. So it's a bit of both. Doman says, why bring it up again? Why bring what up again? Markovsky says, I like Microsoft Windows 11 Enterprise LTSC. It's brilliant and installs without any hassle or bloat. Actually, yeah, I do like it as well. I've been trying to find a way of buying that and actually licensing it legitimately that isn't crazy expensive, because the LTSC actually makes a lot of sense. And I've installed it on 2 PCs now, the Windows 11 LTSC. Generally, if you install the LTSC from Microsoft, you can just install it and it will last as a trial edition for 90 days, I think it is, in which case it deactivates itself. So yeah, trying to get some licensing for that. There are ways of licensing it without buying a license, but I can't show that on a YouTube video. I've tried that before, it didn't work. Yeah, Aletta says there, the fittings in my PC cost $135, which again is like more than most people will spend on a CPU. So it's kind of, you have to be really into it or feel that need. So I'm just looking at the questions here. You lot are all talking to yourselves, so that's good. What's that? Rasher doing rash things. What's he done now? Speaking, yeah, Rasher got banned from our Discord because he got drunk, which I do feel a bit bad for, really. But the rules are the rules. I think we should have a discussion with our Discord community to see if Rasher should be allowed to grace our doors once more.
Apart from a Saturday night.
Apart from a Saturday night, yeah, we'd have to put some sort of lock on the Discord so he can't come in on a Saturday night, or at least keep him away from the keyboard on a Saturday night, or block his account from posting pictures. Oh dear. Yeah, we do miss you in there. We do. Bless your heart. Alcohol is a terrible thing, and it does terrible things to people. It removes a lot of inhibitions that otherwise lovely people would not do or say. But we'll see. Me and Kath actually mentioned it. I think it was last week after the stream. Did we mention it? I think it was at some point. Anyway, we said we should speak to the Discord people and kind of gauge what the consensus is. Have you served your term yet? Because we're not assholes. We're nice people, and a ban is a ban, but is a ban a ban? Is a ban temporary? Can you have a temporary ban? I guess you can if you're a driver.
You can if you're on Facebook.
Yeah, you can get put in Facebook jail, can't you? Which is a temporary ban.
And Telegram.
So yeah, maybe. Put a breathalyzer on his keyboard.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll have to put a tag on your ankle and attach a breathalyzer to your keyboard, and then you're good to go. Mark says, when you're drunk, you always think you're funnier than you actually are. I know. Our Portier says, which card should I go for? An RTX 3070 Ti or a 4060 Ti? That is a very good question. There's going to be a lot of things to and fro in that whole thing. A 3070 Ti is a nice card. The 4060 Ti was very poorly received because it was essentially a 3060 Ti that cost £100 more. It did have the advantage of running much, much, much cooler and much quieter, and the slightly enhanced ray tracing. So it depends on the prices you're paying. The 3070 Ti should, in most instances, be a lot faster than the 4060 Ti. But it depends on the pricing. Personally, if you're in a position to buy that sort of level of card, I would probably hang it out for another 2 weeks, because the RTX 5060 and 5060 Ti's are due to drop any time now. So that is going to have an impact on, obviously, previous generational pricing, depending how the reviews go. So if you're not in a desperate rush, I would maybe hang fire just a little bit. Also, you can have the other side of things. So there will possibly be other people that are thinking along a similar lines. We're also seeing the AMD cards starting to come back into stock, and also at somewhat sensible pricing. So that is going to have an effect on the rest of the market. So you'll find that used cards are going to be slightly cheaper. So if you're looking at used cards, then maybe you'll see that little bit of a kind of little bit of a dip maybe in pricing, possibly. Also as well, the weather's getting better. People are possibly going to be using their PCs slightly less. You've got Easter holidays, you've got kind of spring happening. So the PC market generally tends to drop off, so prices often drop at the same time because retailers are like, we need to make money, so they drop prices. It's obviously now that the winter or cooler months have finished. What does TI actually stand for? Well, originally it was titanium, but what it stands for now, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's titanium anyway. It's such a long time. I'm trying to think what the first TI card was. Is it 70, 780? Maybe. Or is it a 9? It might have been a 900 series. I'm not too sure now. It's all blurry. Zero Defects says it stands for Titanic. Or, yeah, Titan. Well, no, because Titan was the kind of the very top of the line. So I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. There were Titan cards, but they were generally the next stack up. So, yeah, I'm not sure. James Missoni says GeForce 2 Ti. Was there a Ti as far back as that? Maybe there was. Yeah, this 750 Ti. There's 750. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to look into it. I'm sure Wikipedia will answer that question for us. Our Portier says these are used cards. You can choose from these cards from about €300. Rasher says my CPU cooler should arrive here on Tuesday. Last part for my new build. It's a Lian Li LCD Hydro Shift 360. White, of course. Good. Like it. So my trusty 3700X Asus Prime X570, 32 gigs of RAM, Corsair 465X, I love those cases, is being retired next week after 5 years. The Corsair 465X case, I love that case. That's a really nice looking case. That was one of Corsair's like proper premium looking cases. It was really nice to work in as well. Ordinary Dude says, oh Mike, there is such a response to the TI question, but I don't want to get into trouble. You go for it, it's fine. James Miscellaneous says, the GeForce 4 MX, legend. Not even a real GeForce 4 card. Nvidia crooked beginnings. Yeah, I think probably most of us, if you had a PC in the early, what would have been, 2001, maybe 2002 era, you would have probably had a GeForce 4 MX. Or a GeForce... Is it GeForce 4? Is it the 200 there then? A 600 and an 800 or something? I can't remember. It's all a bit blurry back then. But yeah, GeForce 4 MX. Great card. Well, not a great card, but very popular. A lot of people had them. Wiki says it's titanium. I thought it was. Tom Quimby says the Tower 300 limestone micro tower chassis looks better. Limestone, that sounds interesting. What colour is limestone? Is that like a silver? Right, what time is it now? So, coming up towards 9:45.
Did you ever look up what colours
Oh,
it's available in?
No, I didn't actually. That's what I was doing. I was, yeah, sorry. Tower 2, was it Tower 250? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Cav.
That's how long it takes me to get a cup
Let's
of
have a
coffee.
look on the stream desktop. So there is the Tower 250 mini tower chassis, and yeah, actually it's just the same at the moment over here in the UK. This is Thermaltake UK. So if I go to main camera again, and I'll open up Thermaltake US. Thermaltake the tower. Sorry about this, bear with me. Oh no, yeah, the American site is the same. So yeah, you've got the option for the black one. I actually quite like the black one. You've got the Hydrangea blue.
Candy.
If it ever loads. Oh, it's broken.
Candy. No.
Yep, that's definitely broken. Let's go for Matcha green, see if we can actually get a display.
No. Don't chew the box.
Yay, there we go. Matcha green. That's what we've got here today. And of course there is the Informa, the snow colour. That's quite nice as well. I do feel it needs a some sort of shield here around the I/O at the top. But yeah, not too bad at all. Actually, let's go back to the black. I think that's why actually the black one works quite well.
Sorry, Flame.
Come on, close you swine. Where are we? Let's go back to the black one. Yeah, so the black one's going to be obviously a lot more forgiving towards the cables and stuff at the top. And any dongle life you may have going on. Apparently there's going to be a stand for it as well, display stand. And also the bottom, so you can make it into like a... what do they call that shape when it's got that? Is it an obelisk? No. I don't know what it is. There's my monitor. That's pretty cool. 360mm rad. Tool-free panels. 2cc ones.
Yellow with black interior looks nice.
Yeah. Yeah, yellow on the outside with black interior would be pretty cool. There's the LCD, which you can put videos and stuff on. The time, CPU temps, etc. Or GIFs. They're not GIFs, they're GIFs. Get over yourselves. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. Got some airflow tests, etc. as well. If you want to check out that, you're more than welcome to. Plenty of storage. Again, the drives, as we showed a little bit earlier, pretty easy to get those mounted up. And it's DMD, dismantleable modular design. Or basically, if you drop it on the floor, it's going to implode into a million pieces.
Jif is peanut butter. Used to be bathroom cleaner here, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Jif used to be bathroom cleaner.
And also lemon juice.
Yeah, that's true,
Fee, though.
Okay. Right, I think that is going to be, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, Mike, did you mention the price of the Tower 250? I didn't. Currently, I believe, well, the prices are in the video description, but I'm thinking at the moment on scan.co.uk. Actually, if I go back to that a minute. Purchasing links. That's one of the things I don't like about Brave, actually.
I've got to get up a minute.
It doesn't have the links in it very well.
Ow! Oh, rip me to shreds.
Thanks, Raj. Thermaltake Tower 250. Yeah. I think Brave is a nice browser, but I don't think the search results are excellent. Ah, there we go. Scan. Tower 250. I think it's 139. Yeah.
O'Reilly, I wondered why Mike was quiet. I hadn't. It was that. How long ago?
It happens. See, that's why you should use Brave. I haven't had a snap.
But I haven't had a frame and I haven't had one. I've only had
You're
like
lucky.
5 maybe altogether.
Actually, how much is my
You need
tab?
to have like 6,000 tabs open and you don't get them. I think.
Right, there you go. So currently over on Scan here in the UK, there is the price. $139.99. Thanks, Raj, for the supporter, being a member.
We did that.
And
didn't we?
thank you to Rasher. You're a lovely person. Rasher's come in there with 20 euros. Thank you very much, Rasher. Much appreciated. And I will, like I said, I will speak to the other Discordies, Discordians, the Mubs, Mubsters, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, see what they say about your ban, whether or not you're you've kind of served your time. I think you have personally, but we'll see what others say. It is a community server after all. And also we got the John David Sullivan's been a member now for 12 months. Wow. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's very much appreciated. Let's give that to the main camera. So yeah, there you go. 140 quid versus 100 quid for the, which actually, let me know in the chat, either in the comments if you're watching this after the stream or if you're with us now live. Let us know in the chat which of the two, if you were going to choose one for a ITX build, which would you go with? Would you go with the TR100 or would you go with the Tower 250? So just put in the comments either 100 or 250, whichever's easier, and we'll get I'd like to get a general consensus from you lot to see what your preference is, because obviously we're all a little bit different and we all have different desires, needs, wants, etc. Something which may be visually pleasing to one may not be visually pleasing to another. So yeah, it's really hard for me to gauge. I'm not a huge ITX fan, as I've already said numerous times. I understand it and I kind of like it, but the pricing and the restrictions, etc., which are becoming less, let's be fair, because cases like this and the TR100 do still give you an awful lot of opportunities for installing a lot of hardware in a very compact location. But it's still relatively expensive for what it is. So yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. And Viali100 has been a member for 12 months also. Says the only channel I support. Bless you, Viali. That's very kind of you. You're lovely people, all of you. Oh, we might be doing another build for Colin Hilton as well. Colin's looking for a new case. He's decided he wants to have a little bit of a change around. So I think he's going to be going with a Antec Flux Pro. And we'll be doing a rebuild of his PC again into the new Antec Flux Pro. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. The aim is with that is to do it during a live stream. So I think he's probably going to bring his PC down like maybe on a Friday or something. We'll do the stream on a Saturday and then he'll pick it up like later on in the week. But yeah, it'd be nice to do that, do a build in the Flux Pro, and yeah, transfer all of Colin's bits and bobs over from his mighty PC into a new case, because he's getting a little bit of twitchy feet. He wants something a bit bigger. He almost went with the MSI Gunnier 300, but when we looked at the size of it and also the fact that it's like 14 kilos without anything inside it, it was like, that's why he got rid of the Landcool 3, because it was just so darn heavy. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at that hopefully. So, right, let's see what you chaps and chapesses are saying. Rasher has also gifted 5 Mics Unboxing reviews and how-to memberships. Thank you, Rasher. Roderick Kennedy has been given a membership. FF also. Neil Mason, Jay, and Inky1919. They've all been gifted membership by Masher. Mash it up. Mash it up, my selector. Sorry. It's late. It's been a long day. Thank you, Rasher. Raj says I have a Tower 900. That's a beast of a case, isn't it? That's an absolute monster. So I'm looking at the cats there. Flame, what are you doing?
Why was he look there?
They were sniffing each other. Swines. Right, sorry, let's see what you guys were saying. That case doesn't look one bit compact. True. Shaky says anything that isn't green. Nick Barnes says, what about a live stream challenge? Build an ITX in 60 minutes or less. The thing is, I think that's a really easy thing to do, but it's not easy to do if you want to do it well, or if there's a camera rolling. That makes it a lot more difficult. I don't like speed building. I'd much rather take my time on it. Although saying that, when I used to work in the shop, we used to speed build PCs, and we could build a PC in probably about 10 minutes. Then it took longer to install the software than it did to build it by a large margin. And we were using Ghost as well. We weren't just doing a fresh install every time. We just ghosted a 98 SE image on them. Wow. So 250 is more original, says Danmar. Thank you. Arali says probably the Tower 250, but only because I could fit more cooling and potentially have a larger GPU. The TR100 is less though. TR100 would make a good lower HTPC. Okay. Ashley says 140 quid is not cheap, but it's very well designed and made, to be honest. Seems like a lot of thought went into it. Yeah, I think, to be fair, it is one of those things. Thermaltake, in their wisdom, when they first came out with the Tower range, I hated it. I actually hated it. I was like, why the hell are they doing this? They were doing such nice cases like the Series 300, the Series 500, and even some of the View range prior to that. It's like, what the hell are they doing? But given their dues, they've kind of stuck to their guns and they've hit somewhat of a niche with these that no one else really is hitting quite as hard as they are. The Tower range, the 100, the 200, the 300, 5, 6 and 9, is it? I think. All those different models, all with slightly different things, but they're all based around the same sort of design technology. I do like the fact that on the newer versions, like the 250, was it the 350, was it, and whatever the others are, I like this kind of more beveled look, the kind of almost like an emerald type design, where when you've got the flat sides, it's all very square. Yes, it's cool and it's the best use of the space, obviously, but I just think the rounded off edges just makes it look a little bit more compact than it otherwise is. Because you see this kind of narrow section at the front, and you kind of, oh yeah, it's long and thin. It makes it seem a little bit more compact than it actually is, and I think they've done a good job on that. I really do. All the panels fit together very nicely. There's no kind of wobbly bits as such. Even the sides, which have been like cut out, they've used decent steel, so it's pretty rigid. Yeah, I think it's a pretty much a job well done. It's very much more of the same of what we've seen in all of the previous Tower cases. They just keep on refining it ever so slightly every time and throwing in slight curveballs with smaller chassis, smaller options. But in terms of having this on my desk, I think I'll be pretty pleased. Even in the green, actually. The more I'm seeing it, the more I sat here, the more I'm growing to like it, which I didn't think I would. And going from what I said like 2 hours ago, I hated it. And now I don't dislike it. I actually like it a bit. I didn't think I was going to, which has actually shocked me a little bit. I didn't think I would. But there's something about the green. The more I look at it, it doesn't come across on camera how it comes across in real life, obviously. But it looks like it's a flat green, and it's got like a satin matte finish to it. But it's almost like it's got slight silvery speckles in it, but it hasn't. But it's just the way that it reflects the light on certain angles, and it just doesn't look... Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like the metal bits don't look as much, but they do like there's like hints of white to it, I think. Yeah, I think there is definitely elements of white as an undercoat. When it kind of, on certain angles, you can kind of get it a little bit. And it's got a little bit of a speckled finish to it. So it's not like a flat green. It's still really weird, but it's still kind of nice at the same time. It's different, and I like that. What's everyone else saying?
Juicy Kerry's in.
Oh, no, I didn't know. Hey, Kerry Holzman, how you doing?
He likes the 300, but don't care for the difficulty accessing the motherboard rear. Right here.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest things about Thermaltake's CTE range and also the Tower range is accessing the rear I/O. Now, Kerry, like me, is fiddling with PCs all day long, and with that comes the thing of trying different keyboards, different mice, USB drives, etc. They're a pig to get to on this, and especially things like plug-in and monitors and stuff. It is a pain in the ass because you have to go through the top section or through the back routed. That is one of the places that this does suffer with, and the same with the CTE range because it's rotated 90 degrees. that is something which I wish they could either kind of work out or address or do something. It's hard to do in this form factor anyway. But yeah, the CTE cases, there's probably one of the reasons why I don't have a CTE case here, because I just don't like the inverted nature and the rear access to the I/O ports. Good stuff. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Kerry. Much appreciated. If you're relatively new here, or maybe you've been here a long time, and you want to see other content live streamed, kind of similar to what we do, but probably in a longer format, Kerry Holzman, you can subscribe to his channel. Go over and listen to him and Mara. Mara doesn't speak as much. Maralina, that's his. I'm not sure if this is his wife. I'm guessing it is. You never know these days, do you? Partner, wife, bit on the side. I don't know. Whatever. Cap's like. But yeah, check out his channel. It's good. It's good fun. It's light-hearted and it's educational as well, which is the way computing should be. It's not all flannel and sales pitches. It's just learning a bit. It's all good. Anyway, Dan Morris says, access the rear I/O. Not like that, you filthy swine. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Thermaltake UK's in as well.
Oh, Thermaltake UK's in as well, are they? Where to? Oh yeah, Thermaltake UK. How you doing, Adam? The Matcha green looks so much better in real life than on camera. It's, yeah, like I've said, I'm kind of coming round to it. I like it a lot more than I do the racing green. I think the racing green was awful. If I'm honest with you, I didn't like the racing green. That was definitely not my cup of tea at all. For more reasons than one. Not the fact that I just disliked the colour itself. I thought it was really hard to match up with other devices. Like with some devices, you want to have a matching set, don't you? So you ideally want to have your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse. The manufacturers are starting to come around to that now. So you're starting to see white monitors now. So if you've got like your nice pristine setup, you've got your white case, you've got your white keyboard, your white mouse, all that stuff. Having a white monitor really does set it off quite nicely. That is starting to be a thing. With obviously some of these colours that Thermaltake are using, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do. But it's nice that they're starting to do the matching peripherals. So obviously you've got your LCD screen kits, you've got your CT120 and CT140 fans. I think as well, if I'm not mistaken, the CT120 and 140EX range, the magnetic ones, also possibly going to be in those colours as well, if they're not already. I must admit, I've not been following them that closely. I know the CT120EX is available in both black and white, reverse and also forward facing. So yeah, potentially there's options for that. Again, with something like this, you could put black fans in here and it's absolutely fine. Would be nice to have the Matcha ones, which are available from, I'm pretty sure the CT120s and 140s are, you can get in Matcha, and I think I've seen them in the Hydrangea blue and possibly one or two other colours as well. Anyway. Adam Williams says, when is the bubble pink coming? There you go, Adam. Bubble pink mid-April at scan. You would think, being that it's bubble pink, and it's kind of like, without sounding sexist, a little bit on the girly side, or slightly on the more feminine side, let's say. Don't get me wrong, I've worn a pink shirt. Let's not go down that route. But bubble pink for a PC, you should have had it come out for Valentine's Day. Come on, you missed a trick there. Bubble pink PC case for your beloved on Valentine's Day. Bosh, job done. You're in the good books. You will be getting some rear I/O action. Happy days. Calf's like... she thinks she had an oh snap moment.
No, I didn't.
Oh, didn't you?
I drew open a new tab.
The plus button at the top.
No, reopen a tab.
Oh, Control Shift T.
Control. Opening the tab there, that's doing something else. I do it automatically every morning.
Now I'm thinking I can't do it. Need more stuff in lilac colour, says Avengi. Maralina's in the chat as well. Hey, Maralina. Says, lol, hiya, and yes, I'm Kerry's wife. There you go. You can't make assumptions these days. You never know. I thought that was the case. Like with Kath, it's easy because she's called Mrs. Mike's Unboxing. So even if she's kind of not my wife, she is my wife.
On YouTube, I'm not.
Oh yeah, not on YouTube, you're not, Sarah. Yeah, actually, yeah, forget that. Where else? So Bubble Pink and Mid-April. Adam from Thermaltake UK. Please could you tell me, is there going to be a Bumblebee version of the Tower 250? That would be something which I think there'll be a few people interested in. And potentially if you can give us any spoilers what other colours may be available in the upcoming future. You can say maybe if they're not definite, but if you can just give us some hints in the chat, that would be absolutely awesome. Yes, Bumblebee out in mid-April as well. Yes, because somebody, who was it who asked that earlier, Kath? Somebody in the chat asked almost towards the beginning of the stream, is there going to be a Bumblebee version? And I was very confident there was going to be, but I didn't know when. So yeah, if that's coming out mid-April, that is excellent.
Oh, I wrote it down, didn't I?
Yeah, Kath did write it down. Because I was going to email you.
It was for... Oh, I'm useless.
Kath didn't write it down. Never mind.
Oh.
Anyway, so that's pretty good. Thanos says, Mike, what is your favourite hobby? I'll be honest with you, I don't have a hobby. My hobby is this, computers and looking at tech stuff. So I love installing Windows. That is a hobby for me. I really enjoy installing Windows. That is so sad. But yeah, I enjoy the process, installing the drivers, doing all the updates and getting a PC ready for a user. I love doing it. Which is why it's really inconvenient that my work or my job is basically doing the same thing. Because it's actually difficult from a tax point of view as well, because where does my hobby end and where does my work begin? Like most people are normal, and like if their hobby is computers, in the daytime they're like a plumber or fit double glazing or a mechanic or, you know, something different. But no, me had to be different, had to have my hobby be my job as well. So yeah, my tax return's really interesting because it's like, well, yes, I bought it because I want it, but I also bought it because I want to do a video on it. Or I bought this tool because I need it, but I use it for my hobby and also use it for my work. So is it a business thing or is it my personal thing? I don't know. It's confusing. It is what it is. So yeah, my hobby is basically, yeah, kind of it. Oh, Stone Grey, mid-April. Now, Stone Grey sounds interesting. Aletta says there, Stone Grey sounds interesting as well. Yeah, definitely Stone Grey. Because that is going to be like a very kind of silvery look, isn't it? Interesting. I really need to get a monitor on this side so I can read it on this side. But it's not ergonomically pleasing doing this. Rasher says, installing Windows is my profession since 1986. Sadly, the glass version. So at least you can differentiate. So you can install Windows by day, install Windows by night, but then to be two different things entirely. Mike's hobby is drinking weird drinks. That is true. I do have my my absolutely not tea. This is a barley-based hot beverage.
Barley and chicory in there.
Barley and chicory. It's very nice. I like it. I actually prefer it than coffee and tea. And I drink a lot of tea. Well, I used to.
In fact, it's only a month more to go and it's been a year, hasn't it?
Almost a year I haven't drank tea or coffee, yeah. And calf. Stephen Anderson says, hello, Mike's Unboxing Reviews Now too. How you doing, Stephen? James Miscellaneous, remember those transparent cases you put together? Acrylic, I think. Yes, I do remember that, yeah. There was a local person who was selling off an old PC, which was in one of those really old acrylic cases. That was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I think I could have made that nice, but I just didn't have the interest at the time. He also drinks Baileys. Yes, I do like Baileys. That might be on the cards later. Thermaltake UK says the limestone grey in the Tower 300. And yes, we will do this colour in the Tower 250. So plenty of options. Actually, whilst you're on there then, Adam, if you don't mind me busting your balls a little bit, it's good actually because there's people watching, so they want to know as well. The TR100, what potential colour combination options have we got coming out for the TR100? Again, I'm hoping there's going to be a bumblebee yellow. I guess there's going to be a pink.
Hello, Dave.
Those are going to be very key colours, I feel. But is there maybe going to be the stone grey as well, possibly? Or the sand version? I can't remember what they call the sand one now. But what can you tell us about the upcoming models? I can't see through there very well. Got too much filtration. There we go. Mark Berry says, Mike and Kath, did you have withdrawal symptoms coming off the tea and coffee? I don't think I did. I think I maybe had a very mild headache. Whether or not it was more mind over matter. But no, we transitioned to it very easily, I think.
I'd already had coffee the day we gave it up because I didn't know we were giving it up.
Oh, yeah.
So I only did half a day without coffee to start with.
Mm.
And then the next full day, because I'd not had as much the day before, it wasn't too bad. But I did have a bit of a headache. But I used to drink lots.
It wasn't too bad. We would drink 10 cups of coffee a day, maybe more.
But it's hard to get to sleep the first, say, 3 or 4 nights. And then after that, you just sleep so much better.
Yeah.
And I'm waking up so much earlier. I don't need as much sleep now, I don't think.
Shaky says, yeah, the sense of accomplishment of installing Windows is something which a lot of people take for granted. Is Adam replied yet? No, I don't see it yet. Scott Gordon says hot pink with light pink interior for Barbie build. That sounds good. Thanos is we're getting really old school now. Mike and Kath, what were your favourite food your parents used to make? Do you want to go first? Have you got one in mind, or?
I used to like leeks wrapped in ham in a cheese sauce.
There you go. Kath's favourite was leeks wrapped in ham with a cheese sauce.
And usually mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes? Yeah. I'm trying to think now. There's a few. I used to like pot noodle. Pot noodle was always a favourite. But no, I used to really like the tuna sandwiches. Just really basic, just tuna with a load of salt and vinegar on it in a sandwich. And I don't know why, I used to really enjoy that.
Okay.
Just basic tuna sandwich, really basic stuff. But other than that, I used to like the bird's eye or Findus sliced roast beef and gravy with chips. That was pretty good.
This is what your mum cooked you?
Yeah.
Did she cook that?
Well, she microwaved or boiled it in a bag, I suppose it would have been back then, yeah. Deep fat fryer for the chips, boil in the bag for the sliced roast beef. Happy days. Alrighty, says Kath, that sounds nice. Chicken, ham and leek. David Thompson says, oh, that roast beef was nice. It was. It still is now, I think. Every time I go to the supermarket, I see that Findus or bird's eye sliced roast beef and gravy, boil in the bag stuff or microwave. And I often think to myself, I'll get one of those, see what they're actually still like. The beef gravy was awesome. It's probably got all kinds of horrible shit in it, but I used to like it.
Stuck together in meat glue.
Yeah.
Because even the gravy was really meaty, wasn't it?
Ashley Strachan says, this is aimed at Thermaltake UK, I believe. Actually impressed that manufacturer has actually come on. Good call and kudos to you. Certainly gain points in my book for sale in the future. Thanks, Ashley, and thanks, obviously, Thermaltake UK. Much appreciated.
And there wasn't no chicken, it was just leeks wrapped
Yeah,
in
just
ham.
leeks wrapped in ham. We have to do that again.
Sauce and then baked in the oven so it was all crispy.
Bentos pies, they were pretty good, weren't they?
That was the tinned ones, wasn't
Tin
it?
Bentos, yeah, they were great.
Although I've always just loved a roast dinner, to be honest.
Our Portier says, do you really eat eggs and bacon with beans for breakfast? Yeah. Well, not regularly, but yeah, you have a fry up, don't you? Toast, beans, eggs, bacon, sausage. Maybe if you're feeling a little bit spicy, maybe a little bit of black pudding. Maybe even some waffles. Controversial. Bird's eye potato waffles with a fried breakfast. I've done it. It's all good. Thermaltake UK says the TR100 is our travel PC. The accessories for this case will be out soon. Travel case, monitor, keyboard, fits all in one carry-on suitcase. Awesome stuff. Yeah, I mentioned that a little bit earlier actually. More colours out later this year. Being a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit coy. Not giving away too much. I hope there's going to be a pink one. I think the TR100 in pink would be awesome. And I've been promising my daughter a PC for so long for her bedroom. And I think the TR100 in pink might just be the one to sway it. I don't think a tower would be a good idea because she'd probably smash the glass or do something with it. And it's a bit big. But the TR100 would fit in her bedroom quite nicely. But it'd have to be pink. Or the watermelon one. Like
she loves watermelon.
She loves her watermelon stuff. So maybe that, a watermelon, like green colour on the outside, pink inside, or vice versa.
And she liked it before it trended.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, what's wrong?
Thermaltake says the TR100 more colours in Q3 and Q4 of 2025. There we go.
Yeah. You want more colours, Dave?
Charles Ballard says, I would like to see your waffles. They probably aren't what we American viewers would call waffles. Okay, so UK, well, there used to be a company, well, there still is a company called Bird's Eye in the UK, which is part of Findus Group, I think, or whatever. They used to make Bird's Eye potato waffles. So essentially it is mashed potato put into like a waffle grill, and they're square, and they've got squared cutouts in them. So they're basically, yeah, square bits of fried potato essentially. With like a mashed potato inside with like crispy on the outside. So basically think of a French fry but in a like a grid. That's essentially what it is. But they were really good. I really liked them. But they probably had all kinds of crappy vegetable oils stuck all over them. Shreedu says, yeah, they're waffly versatile. Or wonderfully versatile. I think they said they were waffly versatile. But yeah, you remember the adverts as well. Yeah, Ashley says apparently they're waffly versatile. Yes. Yeah, those aren't waffles. No, I think waffles in America are they like almost like a pastry or like a sweet dish that you traditionally put like cream on or ice cream or blueberries, that kind of stuff. Oh, there we go. Right. My software has crashed. I could hear the fans ramping up in the case. And I was thinking, what's going on there? So we've had an all snap moment. So it appears that Brave is not immune to it either. There you go.
See, that's where you're going wrong. Look how many tabs you need to have open and it doesn't do it.
Honestly, no word of a lie, Kath has got, it must be getting on towards 100 tabs open on her computer. Must be.
And it never does it.
And hers never does oh snap.
Well, I've done it about twice since it started. Like since...
Ashley Strachan says he's got a fry up in the morning. Can't wait. Oh, yeah, I could...
We haven't really had a fry up, have we, since we were on a diet?
I have not had a fry up in so long. I quite like the idea of one, though.
We only really eat them if we want to lose weight.
Yeah, O'Reilly says potato waffle versus potato hash brown. They're very similar, aren't they?
We wouldn't have any carbs on it. That's the only difference.
Damar says we have those here in Canada. Okay.
With lashings and lashings of butter, cooked in butter.
Yeah, loads of that. Get it on.
Get that weight off.
Russia says the new regulations here on all cigarettes have to have health warning printed on every cigarette, plus tax is now $2 per cigarette. What? Jeepers. Mookie MC says, do you have an ad blocker on the browsers that go snap? No, because I don't have an ad blocker on my Chrome browser, and for Brave I've only got kind of what's built into it, so yeah. Adam Williams says the 25th anniversary Hydrangea Blue 280mm AIO. There has been some Hydrangea Blue AIOs. I don't know whether there's a 280 and whether or not it's going to be the TH360 V2 or whether or not it would be the Ultra. Maybe one of the other ones, maybe the Tough Liquid. I would imagine if anything it's going to be a Ultra. Probably a TH360 V2 Ultra in Hydrangea Blue. I'm sure well, Adam will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a couple of different models of AIO which come in both Hydrangea Blue, Matcha Green, Snow, and also the traditional black colour. Oh yeah, Adam Williams has found the 360. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Ultra versions. I don't think they do the non-Ultra versions in the Matcha Green or the Hydrangea Blue, but I could be mistaken. Okay.
Red sauce or brown sauce on a fry up? I just dip it all in the egg.
Yeah, I think if you're having a bacon sandwich or bacon and egg sandwich, brown sauce works really well. But I think if you're having just bacon on its own maybe, or bacon, eggs and sausage, sometimes tomato sauce does work. But yeah, I don't know.
On a fry up, they're talking, not sandwich.
On a fry up, to be honest with you, on a fry up, I think I'd rather just go with some black pepper and some vinegar. Don't need salt because you've got beans and you've got lots of salty stuff going on there. But yeah, I think some black pepper and a little bit of vinegar. Happy days. Dutch Jan says, no breakfast for me. I can't eat in the morning. I often don't like eating in the morning. Yeah, we have like 1 meal a day, if that. Yeah. Black pudding makes it. I'm not a fan of black pudding, to be fair. Kath likes it, I don't.
I quite like it without cooking it as well. I'm a bit of a pig.
Right, okay. I think we've exhausted, anyway, the conversation. It's gone on to food. I'm actually starting to feel hungry now. Yeah, I think that is it. So, yeah, I think we've exhausted all of the potential questions on the Tower 250. And from what I can tell from your comments, it seems the 250 is the one that potentially you're more interested in rather than the TR100, which I didn't think it was going to be that way. I thought it might be, in fact, the exact opposite. I thought the TR100 was going to be the one that everyone was raving about. But just goes to show that I don't know nothing. Yeah, I was going to say something then, but I can't think what it was I was going to say. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for joining us on the stream. Much appreciated. And if you've got any last minute questions, quickly get them in. But otherwise, if you're a long-term viewer here, you probably know all this anyway, but I'll go through it anyway. If you want to help support the channel, you can use premiumcdkeys.com. You can pick up Windows keys for around about $3, which is absolutely ridiculous. You can save yourself a fortune. If you want to continue the conversation and speak to other like-minded individuals, you're more than welcome to join our Discord. Links for that also in the chat. And last of all, if you want to protect your desktop surface from all kinds of nasties, you can pick up one of these custom mouse pads or desk pads from technicallystable.com. Currently there's a discount code, Mike's Unboxing. You can get 10% off your order. And also the shipping is actually pretty good as well. You can have the Mike's Unboxing logo, you can have one of their own existing logos, or you can basically just put a JPEG or a picture that you have on your PC or on your computer, whatever, add it onto their layout design thing, and you can basically print whatever you want. And I think
Nick Barnes had his
Nick Barnes had his
of New York,
yeah, New York photo, I think, and
of them.
Andy Archer had his cat.
I think so.
Andy Archer had his cat on his, or 3 cats on his. So yeah, if you want to do one, if you want a mouse pad and you want to help support the channel, and you want to have it customized how you want it to be, so you don't have to directly support us in that terms, but it does. We get a small kickback from every purchase. It's worth doing. I'm actually going to be doing some new merch actually coming out soon. We've got some DTF transfers, so I'm going to try my hand at making some Mike's Unboxing boxers and also some Mike's Unboxing socks. So Mike's Unsoxing and Mike's Unboxering. Steady on, kids. Cat's jumping up on the box. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I might make a video on how we do that, but we'll see how it goes first of all. You never know. It might turn out an absolute complete cluster, but we'll see. Anyway, So massive shout out to everybody for joining us, and thank you for thanks to Thermaltake for joining us as well and helping out with some of the information there. It was much appreciated. Thanks, Adam. Happy days. Thanks also to everyone who's joined in the chat, and also Kerry Holzman for dropping in. Not often we get a star come in the chat, so much appreciated for that. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Hopefully you all have a fantastic rest of your weekend. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, let us know on the Discord or in the comments section below. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Take care, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you same time, same place next week, although it'll be an hour earlier, so it'll be a different time, technically. I messed that up. Anyway, night everybody. Have a great one. See you later.